it been since you had your home's electrical integrity checked? Whether your home is 10 or more years old or even a newer build, the safe rule of thumb is to get the electric 5 years. At Gabroods, electrical work is all we do. We're the area's recognized experts. Panel replacements, whole house fans, generators, solar, and more. But home inspections are what we do most often. Whether you have a difficult electrical situation or it's just time to ensure your home and family are safe, call locally owned Gabroods for our thorough 12-point expert inspection. Gabroods, serving our Northern California neighbors for more than 30 years. Gabroods, G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Call the good dudes at Gabroods, G-U-B-R-U-D-S, Gabroods.com.
At Downtown Ford Sacramento, we're proud of our long heritage. We've consistently provided Ford cars and trucks to families and businesses in this region for over 100 years. If we think about it, practically every kid who grew up in this town at one time or another rode around in a Ford that we sold to their family. We've served multiple generations of local farmers and ranchers who got their rugged Ford trucks from us. We've also provided many of the emergency vehicles that you see out doing the people's work every day on the streets. All of us at Downtown Ford, from our top-notch service department who keep your Ford running like new, to our dedicated finance team and the guys and gals in our showroom, we thank you for generations of love and loyalty to us. And for that love, we say right back at you. We're doing Fords just like we always have. Come see us any day of the week or visit us online at downtownfordsacramento.com.
The voice of Sacramento sports is back.
Hear Grant Napear every weekday beginning at 3 right here. KSAC 890 AM Olivehurst, K284CM 104.7 FM Sacramento.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Grant's back, and here to win. It's the Grant Napear Show on Fox Sports Radio Sacramento. Now, Grant Napear.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. We've got Thursday night football we'll talk about with the Broncos and the Raiders. The Kings get the win last night against Golden State, and a lot of people talking about who didn't play as opposed to did play. Russell Westbrook played, that's for sure. He led the Kings with a triple-double, and we had talked about this 24 hours ago. I thought it would have been a disaster if the Kings had lost that game last night, and they found a way to win, and that's what's important because you have Oklahoma City coming in tomorrow, and as we start this show, the injury reports for both the Kings and the Thunder have not been updated yet, and so as soon as they are, we'll pass it along. The Thunder had pretty much their entire team off the floor last night, with the exception of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and they had a 20-plus point lead in Portland, and they lost. It was their first loss of the year. So now you're going to be taking on an OKC team coming off their first loss, and for Sacramento, we'll wait for the report to see whether Levine or Sabonis are on there, and if so, to what degree. So we're going to talk about that at 916-779-0929. You have Oklahoma City, Minnesota, Denver, and Atlanta still ahead on this homestand. Something else I wanted to get into today, and it was a very sad story coming out of Dallas today. I'll get to that in just a moment, but it's all related here. So 5 years ago, in the summer of 2020, we were going through a very tumultuous time in this country. And former MLB player Kevin Youkilis put out on Twitter this tweet. And I saved it because of all of the things that I have seen on social media since social media became a thing. I don't know if I've ever seen anything that makes as much sense as Kevin Youkilis' tweet. He said the mental health and well-being of our country is deteriorating, and social media is the culprit. The constant hatred towards others that don't share the same opinions is tiresome and unhealthy for our society. We all need to be better so the next generation is healthier and happier. And the reason why I started off with that is because I believe this. I believe that as good as social media is, and it has so many, I guess, positives, the negatives are scary. And the underlying effects of social media, if you're not strong enough to handle it, can be pretty huge. Now, the news coming out of Dallas as it related to Marshawn Kneeland, who died from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound at the age of 24, was, obviously it's very sad. I'm not going to sit here and talk about mental health because I don't know anything about mental health. I don't know anything about Marshawn Kneeland other than the comments coming out of the Dallas Cowboys locker room and from his agent and so on and so forth. I think that we can all agree anytime you hear of a young person taking their life, it is incredibly sad. But I've talked about this at length with Ryan, and I've talked about it at length on my podcast. I've talked about it at length here on the radio show. As many of you know, I'm a New York Giants fan, and their place kicker is Graham Gano. And Graham Gano, over the last 3 years, has had many injuries, and now he has a possible herniated disc, okay? Now, I want to read a couple of quotes that just kind of like gave me a wow today, okay? Here's Graham Gano and his quote. I hear everyone else's frustration, media, fans. Shoot, ever since sports betting started happening, I get people telling me to kill myself every week because I'll hit a kick that loses them money. I'll miss a kick and it loses them money. It was the other day that someone told me to get cancer and die. I mean, that stuff is part of it. How about that? Now, I don't know if Graham Gano was referring to things that he sees on social media or people just yelling things from the stands, but he went on and said this. Just playing this long, you're used to it by now. But with that being said, I see everyone's frustration, and I'm frustrated too. I just want to play ball. Just constantly not being able to is tough. Doing everything I can to try to come back and play, that is my hope. Now, Graham Gano's been around the block. He's 38, all right? So he's a kicker. He's won games. He's lost games. And now the story says this, all right? He reads in the detail. The threats have come from letters and direct messages on social media. The Giants, by the way, and the NFL security are trying to track some of this down. Now, he had more to say. Nobody wants to hear that stuff. I think everyone in the locker room knows if you have something going on, to talk to somebody about it. Talking about the effect that this has on his life. I hope that everybody in here would. Nobody wants to hear stuff like that. I just want to make the fans happy, help the team win games. And so not being able to do that is hard. Again, these comments came after he was diagnosed with a herniated disc this week. And he missed a critical field goal against the 49ers. And there's a really good chance that he won't be able to kick this week against the Bears. How about those comments? And we've always talked about this, okay? And being the target for fans. And he was asked if he responds, quote, I really don't respond. I try not to see as much as I can. If I start seeing that stuff, I just shut it off. Unfortunately, that is part of the game. A lot of people will send you stuff like that. I'll get letters. I'll get fans telling me that stuff to my face. Game days, the DMs. I hear a lot of it from other guys on the team too. It's tough, especially nowadays with mental health. It's tough, but I've gotten thick skin over the years. Early on, it really bothered you a lot. And again, I have no idea why Marshawn Nealon was evading police, then was found a few hours later with what appears to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Brian Dable, the head coach of the Giants, said that mental health is regularly a common topic within the organization. Now, I don't even know how to define mental health, so I'm not even going to attempt to, and I'm not doing a show for 3 hours today on mental health. I'm doing a show today on just an interesting topic based on the news of the day. And I don't know why an athlete would be on social media if that individual is receiving death threats. In other words, what I'm saying is, like, especially in a city of New York, I don't know if I would want to deal with that. We're all different. I can't say what you should do, what I should do. I mean, we're all different, right? Kevin Durant can't handle any criticism in any way, shape, or form. I'm not saying that it affects his mental health. I don't know. Again, I don't even know how to define mental health. I think in my mind, I have an understanding of what we're talking about, but like, I don't know how we can just put a blanket over it because we're all different. And some things that affect me won't affect you and vice versa. We're people. That's how it is. But here's something that I think we can all agree on, or at least I would hope so. And that is the effects that legalized sports gambling is having on our sports society. I'm not even going to talk about our society in general. I'm talking about sports. I'm talking about betting on games. I'm talking about the social media, and I'm talking about everyone with a device in their hands and making bets before the game, during the game, halftime, prop bets, all of that, okay? And that some people, unfortunately, probably more than you would care to know, are compulsive gamblers. And their entire life is revolved around gambling. And that when you go as a compulsive gambler, because I've been around compulsive gamblers and I've seen the effect that it can have on their lives, it is not fun. Okay? It's not a pleasant sight. It is a sick addiction that has a domino effect that can go on and on and on. It's not a pleasant thing. And I read these comments, and then I hear from NBA players and some of the comments they've made because the fans are much closer to the court. I continue to wonder, where are we going? I asked Ryan last week, where are we going to be 5 years from now? Where are we going to be 10 years from now? Are we going to have a situation where an athlete is murdered in the street? Are we going to have, and I mean, something bad's going to happen here. It's inevitable. And I'm not saying that this is what happened to Nealon. I have no idea, and I'm not even making that inference. I'm just saying that there's a lot of bad stuff going on in sports right now. You know, we love to go to the game. Like, if you were at the game last night, we talked about this 24 hours ago. You know, you had to be disappointed that you weren't going to see Steph Curry and that, you know, you had a generational talent, right? And let's say you're an individual who really scrapped money or whatever to make it a real special occasion for your loved one, friend, whatever. And then all of a sudden you find out that he's not playing. I don't know what that would do for you if you're quote unquote mentally unstable, or unstable, I should say. I don't know. I would think there were, well, I already know that because I received a lot of messages on my social media and on this radio show, on the text line in particular at 916-779-0929, from a lot of fans that were upset. You know, Damon Bruce, who I have great respect for, put out on social media a message about this that was, I thought, spot on, and he did an entire podcast. He said this today. It's kind of interesting to watch the Warriors B squad try and scrap. Kings, the right team to rest against. NBA should refund 50% of all prices to people who paid to be there. NBA's greatest weakness, load management, could be solved with a better schedule. That's the one thing I probably don't agree with Damon Bruce, because the league has done everything to try to make it a better schedule. And load management never used to be a problem when the schedule was much worse and much more arduous. Load management was not a problem. Now the schedule has been eased up, less travel, I can go on, and load management seems to be a real issue. So, and that's my take. I'm going to ask Ryan here in a moment because he has had, I think, a lot of really good opinions on this, and I'll talk to him in a second, but I want to just finish my thoughts on this topic. So I read what Graham Gano says, and I'm just wondering how many of the athletes that are experiencing what Graham Gano experiences, but keep it to themselves. Don't tell their wives even, because they don't want to worry people, right? Don't want to tell their loved ones. Don't want to make it sound like they're weak, right? The stigma of being attached to a big-time athlete. Gee, you're letting somebody on social media affect whether you make a kick or not, or this or that. So I would think that there are a lot of athletes who receive and hear these type of things that we don't even know about. So, I think that it is just the tip of the iceberg, because really legalized sports gambling is new in our society. Sports gambling's been going on forever. Right? It's been going on and on and on. Okay. Bookies, people betting with themselves. But now, it's so easy. You can sit there at the game, right? And you can do it right on your phone, and you can make prop bets and everything else. But I just think that tweet by Kevin Youkilis 5 years ago, as it relates to social media, was so spot on. And so, Ryan, I'm gonna ask you here towards the end of this opening segment. Do you think it is the tip of the iceberg, like I do, that we're starting to hear, especially with the NBA gambling scandal that came out with multiple arrests, including Chauncey Billups, okay, Terry Rozier, and Damon Jones? I'm wondering, what's next? And I'm wondering what the effect on sports gambling is going to have on our athletes. And if someday I'm going to have to go on the radio at 3:00 and talk about a player being murdered because somebody lost a sports bet. I really mean that. I hate to say it, but I think that's where we're heading.
It's a subject that I have been very interested in over the last few years. It's something that many times when I talk to people around the league, in the league, I bring up because I want to get their thoughts on it. And there was a distinct shift, Grant, when the United Healthcare CEO, Brian Thompson, was murdered. When that happened, in many people I talk to that are in the league right now, that being that easy to get that close to somebody of that nature, that changed the way that they saw these threats. And I know they're two completely separate incidents, but one being on camera and how quickly that could happen, and two, with the amount of hate that these guys are seeing on a continual basis, it's almost like they saw an example, a flash forward to what could be. And unfortunately, Grant, we were having the conversation a couple of weeks ago before a game with some of the people in the media room. And yes, everybody feels unless something changes, we are headed directly to what you are saying. And I hope the NBA, football, everybody else can get a hold on it.
You can bring up Charlie Kirk as an example of that too, right? Somebody who expresses a certain viewpoint that individuals don't agree with, and in this case, one individual, and he ends up being murdered. You talk about the situation, broad daylight, in front of a New York City hotel, And I've told you this, the trend of players going out every night. We used to go out every night on the road, every night. We didn't even think about it. Okay. Didn't even think about it. It never entered our mind. We didn't go out with security. And I'm talking about like very well-known players. Okay.
Yeah.
If you want to go back to the early 2000s, the Kings were the darlings of the NBA. Everyone knew the Kings. We'd get 5, 6, 7, 8. We'd all be out. We'd be going to various places. We didn't look over our shoulder. Yeah, there were people that would come up to them and ask for their autograph and so on and so forth. But like as you were walking down the street, you weren't thinking that, gee, some sick person might come up and shoot us. Okay. I mean, now players, in my experience, when I was recently doing the games, or most recently doing the games, very few players I saw would leave the hotel. They just were like, they check into the hotel and they stay in the hotel and they don't leave the hotel until it's time to get on the bus for practice, shoot around, or the game. Now, there are exceptions. Some of them would, but I mean, by and large, I mean, you always have fans outside every hotel that we used to go to, regardless if it was 3 in the afternoon or 3 in the morning. And you just wonder if there's an individual among that group who just lost their life savings, or I'm exaggerating, but I'm trying to make a point, or just lost a bet on somebody that missed a free throw the night before that cost them their ability to pay rent this month, or, finish their education, or buy food for their kid, or whatever the case may be. I mean, it's just, it's such a huge spectrum here, right? Like you can't just, it's not narrow, it's everlasting. It goes on and on and on because there's such a domino effect to all of this, Ryan, right? Because everyone's different. Again, I can't define mental health in my mind. I think I know what it is. And I think that like, I have to acknowledge that it can be a very serious situation, but I don't know why person A is fine. It can withstand all of that, but the brother or a sister in the same family can't handle that. I mean, I don't want to go off on a tangent here, but I've got friends who are extremely successful, CEOs and business leaders and unbelievably successful and married and have a great family. And yet, one of their siblings is in jail for drugs and or crimes. Like same parents, same mom and dad, right? Same upbringing. One person is doing great. One person has a phenomenal career. One person has their life like quote unquote perfect. And the same family, same house. The other individual's in jail for repeated criminal violations, right? So like I don't have an answer to this, but Ryan, when I read Graham Gano's comments today, I was just like, wow. Can you imagine having to deal with that? Can you imagine being an athlete, okay, and hearing people threatening you from the stands? Forget about social media, because you can get rid of social media. No one says you have to be on social media, but you can't get rid of fans that are yelling at you, right? I mean, what are you going to do about that?
Yeah, exactly right. And now, as you mentioned before, the fan experience is getting closer and closer to the players. Look, mental health does not discriminate. One of the things we hear commonly from fans is, well, they're making millions of dollars. There's no way that, like it could be that big of a deal to somebody. Right. And I think DeMar DeRozan, who's been one of the trailblazers in speaking up about mental health. Last year, he released his book, Above the Noise, Chasing My Calm. I read that, and it painted a very real and open perspective, and it's opened up a conversation within locker rooms. It's opened up a conversation within organizations. Many times you now have people on staff that are sports psychologists, etc., just regular psychologists. But I guess what I want to get to is back in 2000, Grant, when you guys would go around, maybe 1 out of 10, 1 out of 15 people around you might be gambling, maybe. And now I would say it's the complete opposite. If you opened 10 people's smartphones around you, if you are walking down the street, I would say at least 50% have a gambling app that's on there. And this is a self-inflicted problem when it comes to the leagues and embracing it, because the leagues have a lot, in my opinion, of a liability, Grant.
Somebody from the 916, didn't someone try and shoot up the NFL offices in New York? Yes, they did. They went to the wrong floor, and several people lost their life.
And he was diagnosed. He put in his letter that he had CTE. It came out that he did have CTE.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's a very interesting topic. 916-779-0929. DAS Mechanical, HVAC retrofit and service specialist. They also do new systems. Family owned and operated since 2018. They serve Sacramento and Placer counties. Homeowners, businesses for commercial maintenance. And again, HVAC retrofit and service specialist. If you are maybe doing a remodel, if you are thinking about, I've had this HVAC system for a long time. I don't think it's very efficient. If you know you're going to be in the market, now's the time to really plan ahead with DAS Mechanical. If you go to dasmechanical.org, check out their 5-star reviews. Many, many, many 5-star reviews, and their numerous best of the best awards. Like, that tells me everything I need to know about DAS Mechanical. And keep in mind that financing options are plentiful, including 0% interest for 18 months. And for the month of November, right until the end of the month, you have a $69 winter maintenance checkup. That's it. Very easy. dasmechanical.org. D as in dog, A, S as in Sam, mechanical.org. Book online, look at the reviews, and their best of the best awards. Let's continue on this. Give me a call or message at 916-779-0929. This from the 209. Can you imagine what Jake Moody went through before he was cut? I can't imagine. Great point. I can't imagine either. This is Grant Napear on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Looking for the ultimate night out? Welcome to HQ Showgirls, Sacramento's premier adult gentlemen's club. We're the only topless club between Reno and San Francisco serving alcohol, beer, wine, and champagne. All inside over 6,000 square feet of pure excitement. Planning a party or a VIP night? Call our VIP manager now at 916-389-0199 to book your table. Come experience the energy at HQ Showgirls, 851 Richards Boulevard, Sacramento. Open 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Sunday through Thursday and until 4 a.m. Friday and Saturday. Visit hqnightclub.com, where the night begins and never stops.
Need new tires? Now through November 30th, save $100 instantly when you buy a set of 4 Bridgestone Weatherpeak tires. Save $70 instantly when you buy a set of 4 eligible Bridgestone tires, or buy a set of 4 eligible Firestone tires and save $60 instantly. Only at Express Tires. Express Tires, 7215 Watt Avenue. Offer valid November 1st through November 30th, 2025. Cannot be combined with other offers. See store for details.
Looking for the perfect spot to watch the game and enjoy amazing food and drinks? Look no further than Fieldhouse American Sports Pub. Family owned and operated, Fieldhouse is passionate about creating a fun, welcoming atmosphere for everyone. Spice things up on Tuesdays with Taco Tuesday. Buy any order of our delicious tacos and get a refreshing margarita for just $6. On Wednesday, Fieldhouse features incredible drink specials. Enjoy $5 well drinks and ice cold pints all day long. Fieldhouse was voted the #1 sports bar in Sacramento. Tons of TVs, a mouth-watering menu, and daily specials. It's the perfect sports bar to catch all the action. Visit us today at 1833 Fulton Avenue. Fieldhouse American Sports Pub, where the food is fantastic, the drinks are flowing, and the good times never stop. Fieldhouse, bring it to the house.
Great if life came with a remote control. You could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest. Uh-oh. Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
7790929. Before I get to the phone lines, I want to read a message on my text line from 530. This is the biggest misconception in the NBA right here. What's up, Grant? Players nowadays are a bunch of hypocrites with load management and need to suck it up and play. What's your thoughts on load management? And what do you think the NBA should do to prevent it, if anything? The biggest misconception is that the players are the ones that are doing this. It's not the players, okay? It's the coaches and the organization. Like, I'll give you a great example. So 2 nights ago, when the Golden State Warriors just beat the Phoenix Suns, Steph Curry was doing his post-game press conference. And he was coughing a little bit. You could tell he had a cold. And he was asked if he was going to play the next night, meaning last night in Sacramento. He said, I don't know. I have to go talk to the doctors first. I'm going to do that right now. Steve Kerr, the head coach of the Warriors, heard that and goes, I don't care what the doctors say. He's not playing. He needs rest. So in Steph Curry's mind, he was going to try to play. He was going to explore about playing, but he was going to talk to the doctors first. And Steve Kerr said no. So load management is not the players, okay? It's the coaches and the organization. It's not the players. Let's get to Bob in Citrus Heights. Hi, Bob.
Hi. This is getting to be a fun activity calling you because it kind of makes me feel better about the poor performance of a lot of the Kings games. But anyway, you're talking about rivalries and so on in sports and gambling. Our whole country, and this is not a political show. I don't want to make it that way at all.
Thank you.
But our whole country is kind of in that direction. The political temperature in America, to me, is very scary. And I don't know what the end result will be. I won't be around when the end result happens, but who knows?
Yeah, I'm with you. You're older than me, I believe, but I don't think I'm going to be around to see it either because I don't see a lot of light at the end of the tunnel. And
I don't.
And I'm with you. I don't want to talk politics because it's not what I do here. I'm on a sports show, but I think that sports is just a sector of what's going on in our society.
Yes, the division in America.
It's unbelievable.
I know.
Yep. Very sad. Bob, good hearing from you. You have a good rest of the day, okay?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Again, 916-779-0929. I don't know what's, again, this is not political because we're talking about, fans and their hatred. When I say hatred, I mean, when you threaten to kill somebody on social media or you're yelling something that is very detrimental from the stands, that to me is hatred. And we've lost and I'm keeping this to sports. So many sports fans have just lost their way. They've lost their perspective on sports, and they're not looking at sports the way I grew up looking at sports and the way I made a career in sports. They're not looking at sports that way. They're looking at sports as a vehicle to make money and in their mind become rich. And what's sad about that is those individuals that end up, on top of the mountain, in this particular instance, there are very, very few. And yet that's why we talk about the debate that they had on Inside the NBA when Kenny Smith was talking about it being an addiction and Charles Barkley said, no, it's being stupid. Well, I think it's a little bit of both, but I think once you become addicted, and again, I'm not a doctor, so I can't define at what point someone becomes addicted other than the fact that once you do become addicted, you must have that, okay? Regardless of what your addiction is, you constantly need it, okay? I don't know at what point somebody goes from being a casual drinker to a serious drinker to an alcoholic. Like, I don't know about the steps there, okay? I don't know what the steps are for placing a $5 bet on a game to a $100 bet to a $1,000 bet to where you're not able to pay your rent or you're not able to afford going to college anymore and you're thinking about taking your life and you're now on drugs. And like, I don't really know at what point you go from, oh, this is fun, I'm enjoying this, to a point where I'm out of control and I can't stop it. Okay. Like I don't know at what point you go from, you can change it, you can change your lifestyle, to, oh my gosh, I'm addicted and I need to go get help and I need to really fix my problem. I'm not an expert on that. But what I do know is, as the 209 said, you talk about Jake Moody. I can't even imagine. And I would think that players that are in the positions where they more or less directly impact the winning and losing of a game, like it's easy to point at the kicker, right? I mean, you're not going to point at a left tackle because he got a holding penalty on a 3rd and 8, in the fourth quarter with 2 minutes left as a gambler. You're probably not even looking at that. But, if you're looking at a game-winning kick or a kick that influences the point spread, and your success or their, depends on whether that kick is good or not, well, that creates a lot of behavioral issues. It really does. So, here's an interesting one. The worst thing in sports betting is the ability to bet on an individual player. Should be eliminated in sports betting. Only team win and over-under betting allowed on weekly games will solve a lot of these problems. I agree with you. Okay? I agree with you. I would think it would solve many problems, but not all the problems. So where are we at when you really get down to the bottom line here? And listen, I don't want to be a hypocrite here. I do commercials for DraftKings. And I could have said, no, I don't want to do the reads. I could have said, yeah, I'm not comfortable doing that. But I'm not uncomfortable doing that for this reason. I'm not uncomfortable talking about beer. I'm not uncomfortable talking about casinos. I'm not uncomfortable talking about things that could end up being addictive, because you, if you're an adult, you have to make decisions that's best for your life. Okay. My job is not to teach you how to behave. It's not my job to tell you right from wrong. That once you're an adult, that's your job. Okay. Now I can help you if you're in the youth, and I'm happy to, and I'm even happy to give advice to somebody who's 80 years old. But the point is, that's not my job. And if I don't do reads for a certain product, whether it's alcohol or whether it's, sports betting, like, that's not going to change anything, right? You have to make a decision that's best for you, right? I mean, I go to games all the time. I'm very well aware that there are people around me because I hear what they're saying. I get it. It's not my job to tell you what to do or what not to do. Said, Grant, I'll give you an example of myself. I have Twitter. I have multiple times have tweeted at Jalen Rose and Paul Pierce, but it's because I think they are terrible at their jobs and say outlandish things for clicks. But in no way, shape, or form would I send death threats or tell them to kill themselves. I wish there was a way to track those people down to charge them with crimes. Well, in certain instances there are, and there is an entire task force whose job is to do that. So that does happen. Thank you, Danny, for that. I really appreciate that. Really appreciate that. 916-779-0929. We'll talk more about this. And then Chris Landry, LandryFootball.com. That's coming up at 4 o'clock. We'll continue on this topic. We'll talk about the Kings last night and anything else right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
The NBA season's rolling, and DraftKings' newest game, Pick 6, is the easiest way to play for your shot at big wins. NBA stars are lighting it up. Now their numbers aren't just highlights, they're your shot to cash in. Here's how it works. Just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats. The better your picks, the bigger your payout. New DraftKings customers get $50 in Pick 6 credits with just a $5 entry on your first pick set. Don't just watch basketball. Pick, play, cash in. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code KSAC. That's code KSAC. Play just $5 and get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Make the call. Ride the upside in partnership with DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Ends December 2nd at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. Terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Hi, it's Margot from Bennett's Restaurants. Looking for the best happy hour in town? Head to Bennett's, where every day from 2 to 6, you'll find flavor, fun, and serious value. Enjoy over 10 wines by the glass, country club style cocktails like lemon drops, skinny margaritas, and crave-worthy share plates. Short rib tacos, chicken wings, calamari, and more, starting at just $6. It's upscale without the uptight. 3 locations, Roseville, Rockland, and Sacramento. Join us today or check out the menu at bennettsrestaurants.com.
After the mildest summer in decades, the fall is here. It's time for back to school, football, and wearing sweats around the house. And for homeowners, the end of summer means it's time to call Sierra Pacific Home and Comfort to schedule a heating and air system inspection. With California's insane energy prices, it's critical to make sure your system is running efficiently. Sierra Pacific's heating and air techs will thoroughly inspect and tune up your system so it runs like new. And if you own an older home, Sierra Pacific does complete HVAC system replacements. And if the cost of a new heating and air system for the house seems out of reach, Sierra Pacific offers flexible financing options so that you can start enjoying the benefits of your new heating and air system this winter. Sierra Pacific Home and Comfort. SierraPacificHome.com.
Sierra Pacific Solar Heating and Air. The guys in the big red trucks.
Business owners, Grant Napier's back, bringing Fox Sports Radio to the forefront of sports talk in Sacramento. That means more listeners, more potential customers who could be spending money for your products and services. This is Kurt Bagelman, General Manager for Fox Sports Radio in Sacramento. Grant's back, and his return is an opportunity for your business. Listen, the sports talk audience is a target-rich group of consumers. 80% are employed, nearly 60% earn six-figure incomes, 67% own their homes. Take advantage of the attention Grant's return has generated to tell people where to spend their money. This is a unique opportunity to increase your sales right now. It costs nothing to learn how a good strategy and a great commercial message heard by sports fans could help your business. So call me, 916-779-0914. 779-0914. Radio and Grant get results, and we are here to help. Call 779-0914.
Don't forget Chris Landry, LandryFootball.com, coming up at 4, 916-779-0929.
We're having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Give me a call. Give me a text message. 916-779-0929. That's 916-779-0929. Gambling in general has gotten worse on the text line. Probably not as popular, but sportsbooks even offer the ability to bet on politics, elections, entertainment, how long the national anthem will be, etc. Young people, especially young men, are the sportsbook's new demographic. Yeah, I did a whole podcast on this. It's very true. Very true. I've always said this, and I really mean this. The day that I retire and stop broadcasting, I'm getting rid of all my social media. All of it. You will not be able to find me because I will not be on social media. I'm deleting my X account. I may keep Facebook, but probably not. I'm done. I don't need it. I don't need it. And I keep it for my livelihood. I keep it because of what I do, and I have to promote my work and everything else. But no, I'm done. I'm not going to do it. I'm just not. I don't need it. I really don't. And I travel. You listen. If you've been with me over the years, you know how my affinity for going to different cultures. Right? I love traveling. I love it. I love talking to people that I don't know that are from a whole different world, because I like to know how they live. I like to know how they think. I like to know cultures, right? And sometimes you don't even have to talk to a person. Like if you go to Singapore, okay, like you don't even, and I mean this, you don't even think about dropping the tiniest of wrappers from, you can't chew gum, but from a piece of candy or whatever. You don't even think about it. Okay. And you don't even have to be told, because the minute you walk off the airplane and you get into a taxi to go downtown, the thing that just jumps right out at you is how clean everything is. Like I've never seen anything like it. I mean, it's incredible, right? When you go to certain countries, you've heard me talk about Thailand a lot. People are happy, even though they don't make a lot of money. They're genuinely happy. They're not discriminating, right? They're okay if you have a different opinion than them. Like they don't look upon you, with hatred because you have a different opinion than they do. It's just so refreshing when you go to certain countries around the world. So, I mean, it's, I don't know where we're heading with this. I really don't. But I just thought the comments today by Graham Gano were absolutely unbelievable. From the 916, Grant, whatever happened to Danny from the UK? Do you ever hear from him? Occasionally. Still a big Kings fan. Yep, I still hear from him occasionally. Speaking of hearing from people, the NBA injury report we're keeping an eye on, and as soon as that becomes available, and again, why are we talking about this? How many people right now are waiting for the injury report to come out, not because they're a big Kings fan or a big NBA fan, but they're waiting for it to come out because they're big gamblers and they want to find out who's playing and who's not so they can make their bets, right? I mean, that's just the darn truth. It's just the darn truth. That's the society we're living in today. And both, is particularly the NFL, which is, the biggest sport we have in terms of sports gambling. I mean, you saw what happened 3 weeks ago with Lamar Jackson when he didn't play in the game after being left off the injury report on a Friday, and how that became a real headache for the NFL as it related to sports gambling. Like, you can't make this stuff up. It's just the way it is. It is the way it is. Okay. And again, I keep asking myself, what's it going to be like in 5 years? What's it going to be like in 10 years? And I'm going to go back to the way I started the show. This says it all. Kevin Euclid, the mental health and well-being of our country is deteriorating, and social media is the culprit. And that was in 2020. That was 5 years ago. Does anyone disagree with that? That the mental health and well-being of our country is deteriorating, and social media is the culprit? The constant hatred towards others that don't share the same opinions is tiresome and unhealthy for our society. I get asked this all the time. Do I worry when I'm out in public? Because I'm in Sacramento. I'm very well known. And I'm like, more now I am aware of my surroundings than ever before, especially when I walk out of the studio. If I've been in a heated discussion with a caller or something else, I'm well aware of it. I'm much more aware of my surroundings. I did a live remote when I was starting the show. I think it was the second week. And it was either the day or the second day after Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And it made me think, I'm going out in public. I'm doing a live show at an establishment. And, you think about everything, right? Because you're just like, there are a lot of troubled people out there. And it's just unfortunate. But as we keep the topic to sports gambling, it's inevitable that it's going to happen. It's inevitable that somebody's going to let it go too far, and it's going to cost an athlete their life. And I pray that doesn't happen, but I'm afraid that's more likely than unlikely. So what do you think about this? 916-779-0929. What do you think of the game last night? And, you talk about load management. I came down pretty hard on Steve Kerr. I think Steve Kerr is the worst by far in the NBA. I don't like how Steve Kerr manages his team without any regard for the fans. And you can say whatever you want. Here's the other issue. Steve Kerr basically conceded the game last night for all intents and purposes. I mean, just the way it is. I mean, that's the reality of the situation. And tomorrow, and I want to see their injury report when they play in Denver tomorrow, talking about the Golden State Warriors. Hey, I want to talk to you about Spencer at Village Financial Group, talking about quality of people and work ethic and experience. Well, I've known him now for 25 years, broker owner, Village Financial Group. And things are shouldn't say finally, but things are changing. Interest rates now below 6%. The market is really picking up. Properties are selling. People are starting to act and get properties before the holidays and the new year. And there's a lot of available properties to choose from. So really, buyers have much more power than they did with the higher rates. Give Spence a call or text him at Village Financial Group, 916-805-4868. That's 916-805-4868. And I talk about the surplus of available properties. You can go to vfgloans.com and you can check out over 9,000 properties available. So maybe it's a home equity line of credit. Maybe you're buying a home, you're selling a home, whatever the case is. Get in touch with Spence at 916-805-4868. It makes sense to call Spence. Again, 916-805-4868. Village Financial Group, looking out for your best interest. Don't forget Chris Landry, LandryFootball.com. Coming up, we'll talk about some college and the NFL in about 10 minutes right here on Fox Sports Sacramento. Rhino, I would assume you took the Denver Broncos tonight?
Yeah, I'm going Broncos. I'm with you, Cody. Cody's a Broncos fan, so I'm doing it for Cody.
Yeah. Cody's probably not happy with me because I didn't put him in my top 5.
I think he was probably the one pushing back on the text line. Grant, what are you doing? The Broncos.
Yeah, I'm just, I've watched every game they played, and I think they're good, but I just like last week, C.J. Stroud goes out of the game in the first quarter. Houston had the ball first and goal. They had the ball then on another drive, first and goal at the 2 after being at the 1 on first and goal. And listen, I credit Denver's defense, but, with C.J. Stroud, they're scoring at least 1 touchdown there.
Yeah.
And the game was 3 points. So they got to get an absolute gift from the Giants, a gift. They barely beat the Jets in London where they didn't play well. They didn't play well against Tennessee in week 1, although I don't put too much into week 1. But do I think they're a good team? Yeah, I think they're a good team.
And this is their opportunity tonight to show it. They should absolutely crush the Raiders. This should not be a close game.
No, you're right. It should not be a close game. You make a very good point. It should not be a close game against the Raiders. And the Raiders are among my top 5 worst teams currently in the NFL. And you are 100% correct. Speaking of the NFL and former players, and you know how many rants I've done on Antonio Brown over the years? I don't know if you saw the story, but he was arrested today in Miami. Or no, excuse me, I'm sorry. He was arrested in Dubai and extradited to the U.S. on an attempted murder charge stemming from a shooting after a celebrity boxing event in Miami. When I think of Antonio Brown, I just think of somebody that is a complete mess, has always been a complete mess for all intents and purposes. And when I saw the headline of this story, I didn't even blink. I wasn't even surprised. It's unbelievable to me. It's just unbelievable. And you want to talk about mental health. I can't define mental health, but he has mental health problems. That much I'm very, very comfortable in going on a radio show and stating that Antonio Brown is about a 10-story building, and on a good day, the elevator goes up to maybe the third or fourth floor.
He's taken some really hard hits in his career, and I am not excusing his behavior. I think there's, just as you said, an element of mental health there. But I also think that's one of the things as we get 20, 30, 40, 50 years out, that's going to be an explosion when it comes to this generation of football players, because we're already seeing so many in the past with CTE. But Antonio Brown, have you seen a bigger fall from grace or a more dramatic one where you're walking off the field with your shirt off during a game? It's bizarre and sad.
Yeah, I mean, he was arguably the best receiver in football, or you would have to talk about him in that regard. And you're right. It was one thing after another, after another, after another, after another. And, like in sports, what happens? Different teams kept on giving him chances. Oh, New England will give him a chance. Tampa will give him a chance. That's why I go back to John Morant. And I don't want to put John Morant and say that he's Antonio Brown, because that would be unfair. But I go back to this. I don't want those players in my organization, because there's more problems, and it can really become unmanageable, which I think has happened in Memphis. I really do. And I wouldn't want him. I would not want him. I really wouldn't. All right, Chris Landry, LandryFootball.com. We're going to talk both college and the NFL with Chris. We'll go over the college football rankings. I want to get his take on what he thinks is wrong with the Raiders. Like, where did it start going really south for them in this year with a new coach, new quarterback, and Geno has certainly not been good this year. So we're going to do that next. Chris Landry, LandryFootball.com, The Grant Napear Show, Fox Sports, Sacramento.
Sports traffic as we take another look at the roadways, starting to get a little bit busier. Working a brand new crash, I-80 eastbound at Antelope Road. Give yourself a couple of extra minutes through the North Sacramento area. Also, I-80 eastbound off-ramp to Forest Hill Road. Got an earlier accident, still trying to be wrapped up in that area. And some heavy rush hour delays throughout the entire area as well. So give yourself some extra time as you head home. With twice an hour traffic, I'm Andy Bass for Fox Sports Sacramento.
At Downtown Ford Sacramento, we're proud of our long heritage. We've consistently provided Ford cars and trucks to families and businesses in this region for over 100 years. If we think about it, practically every kid who grew up in this town at one time or another rode around in a Ford that we sold to their family. We've served multiple generations of local farmers and ranchers who got their rugged Ford trucks from us. We've also provided many of the emergency vehicles that you see out doing the people's work every day on the streets. All of us at Downtown Ford, from our top-notch service department who keep your Ford running like new, to our dedicated finance team and the guys and gals in our showroom, we thank you for generations of love and loyalty to us. And for that love, we say right back at you. We're doing Fords just like we always have. Come see us any day of the week or visit us online at downtownfordsacramento.com.
Tired of the same old routine? Need a place where the beer flows and the good times roll? Then head to Fieldhouse American Sports Pub, 1833 Fulton Avenue. Family owned and operated, so you know you'll feel right at home. Catch all your favorite games on 18 big screens while enjoying amazing food. And with 28 beers on tap, you're sure to find something you love. And don't miss Everyday Happy Hour from 3 to 7 and again from 10 till close. Looking for more than just the game? Trivia Tuesday starts at 7 p.m. And there's Mario Kart and bingo nights for even more fun, too. There's always a blast happening at Fieldhouse. Whether you're looking for a place to watch the game, grab a bite with the family, or just unwind with friends, Fieldhouse is the place to be. Fieldhouse American Sports Pub, 1833 Fulton Avenue. Bring it to the house.
Tell your friends. Grant's back. Grant Napear is back on the Sacramento airwaves right here. KSAC 890 AM Olivehurst. K284CM 104.7 FM Sacramento.
Welcome back, Grant Napear, Fox Sports Sacramento. Hope you're doing well. We're going to talk some college and the NFL. And, of course, tonight you've got the Raiders and the Broncos. You want to talk about two organizations or two teams going in completely different directions? Wow. Denver and the Raiders coming up tonight. Every Thursday at this time, we talk, as we said, college and the NFL with Chris Landry. You can check everything out, LandryFootball.com. Check out his shows over on YouTube. Chris, good to have you on. How are you this Thursday?
I am doing good. I hope you don't ask me how the Raiders are going to win tonight because I don't know that I have that answer for you.
No,
Actually, crazy things happen. It could happen tonight just because it's the NFL.
Yeah, well, okay, I was going to ask you, what is the biggest issue with the Raiders? Because there was so much renewed optimism when Pete Carroll, I mean, you can't argue with the man's track record. Geno Smith, who played very well for Pete in Seattle, who's really been awful this year. Not that I'm blaming it all on Geno Smith, but the organization looks lost again right now. So what's happened to them in your view?
Well, they're really bad offensively because they can't run the football. They don't play well at the line of scrimmage. They don't have a running game. And for Geno Smith, you got to have a running game. You got to work the play action in. You got to work the boots, the waggles. It's got to be augmented by the running game. And if he doesn't have a running game and he has to drop back there, play from behind, he is not going to be successful. That's not what he is. He's a guy that you can win with. He's not going to win for you. And defensively, I just don't think they're very good. I think getting the ball back is difficult. And then staying on the field offensively. I mean, it's just not a whole lot there at this point. Look, I mean, Pete's got uber enthusiasm. He's going to continue to work that, but they've got to get better personnel-wise. That they're the only team in that division that just looks lifeless. I mean, Denver certainly had their moments, and I think might be able to click in and cause some damage at the end of the year. You know, the Chargers have got some injuries, but they're still can be very difficult. And the Chiefs, despite the fact that they lost to Buffalo, no one's going to want to play them if they're healthy in the playoffs. It's just they're in a tough division, and they're really bad. It's a bad combination.
It's a great point. You talk about Denver 7-2, and at home they have not lost. They've had some really close calls. I mean, if you go back to week 2, a penalty that gave the Colts an opportunity for another kick, or else they would have beat the Colts. But then, they barely beat the Jets in London. They got an absolute gift from the Giants. Houston, C.J. Stroud goes out last week in the first quarter. The Texans can't score on 1st and goal, and then on another drive, 2nd and goal. And again, I'm not saying that they don't deserve to be 7-2. I think they're a good team. I just don't know how good they are. And you just made a comment, and I think you used the word may when you talked about the Broncos at the end of the year, may be there.
Yeah, and I agree with you. The way they're playing right now, the inconsistencies that's leading to these close games and having to pull it out, that's not going to cut it come playoff time. I mean, that's going to be, you make it with your record and then you're one and done. But I do think as a play caller, as an offense, I think the quarterback is really bright. I think Nick's is getting better and better. I think the running game Sean doesn't get enough credit for his running game design. That's going to be the key offensively. Can they run the football well enough? And then defensively, they've got talent. They've given up too many plays that I think this defense should be given up. So Yeah, I'm not crazy about where they're playing, but that when you are trying to find yourself and you're trying to figure things out, it's good to be 7-2 instead of 2-7, because at this point you'd be out of it. And so I'm not overly confident. I still think the Chiefs are the team to beat in the division, but I do think Denver can be a factor, but not the way they're playing.
Can the Chargers withstand the situation on their offensive line now that Alt, who went over to the left side to play for Slater, is out for the rest of the year? Are they gonna be able to withstand that?
I think they'll still be good. I still think they'll make the playoffs, but I think once you get into the playoffs, I think it certainly lowers their ceiling a little bit in terms of what they're going to be able to do. I think it's gonna require them to have an hellacious game by the quarterback to make some big time plays. I don't know that they have enough there to do that. So no, the answer is no. I think they needed to be kind of clean or cleaner injury wise, and just the injuries on the offensive line may be difficult to overcome on the grandest stage, in a playoff run. But I still think they're good enough to stay in the division race. Then I think they can. We'll see how the playoff matchups go, because I think they're a playoff team.
Chris Landry, LandryFootball.com. A very intriguing game Sunday with the Niners and the Rams, and the chess match between Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay. A lot of people in Northern California here were very disappointed that the 49ers were quiet leading up to Tuesday's trade deadline. And you've been in front offices before, and so you know the inner workings. Hey, there may not have been a deal that made sense, but
right.
They're without Bosa, they're without Warner, they've lost a lot of key guys. Is this them looking at the big picture going, we're not there this year, or do you think there just wasn't a deal that made sense for them?
I think it's a little bit of both. Well, I mean, certainly if there was a deal that made sense, that would have allowed them to really kick it in high gear, which I can tell you that there wasn't. I think they're looking at the big picture and building. They're not going to ever say, yeah, we're building for the future. We're giving up on this year. They're not, but they're not good enough to, in my view, to make a deep run. But there wasn't anybody in there that was going to help them get over the hump. And therefore, I think it was a prudent move to say, look, we've got to play a little bit differently, and we're going to have to win it this way. So I get it. Fans want to win now, but what's going to make you win now? What can you get that somebody's willing to give up that's going to allow you to take that step? I don't think that opportunity was there for them. The trades that were made were, teams that were in desperation, that clearly, like the Jets that are moving on, and then you take a team like Dallas, sign Quinnen Williams, stop the run. Well, that's good, but look at how much they gave up when they would have been much better off. I mean, they basically took not pick for pick, but they basically, you get what you got for Michael Parsons. You turn around and you give a good bit of it away for Quinnen Williams. Tells you that that football sense is not alive and well in Dallas. And I think sometimes you see that the moves that are made are the teams that are, Seattle, getting a guy that can stretch the field. That's a team that can make a run. I just don't know that the Niners were able to find in their need spot, and their need spots are tougher to find. We're able to find that guy or guys to maybe give them that edge post trading deadline.
Yeah, football sense has not been well and alive in Dallas for a long time. The Colts, they gave up a lot to get Sauce Gardner. We know he's really good, but boy, did they give up a lot. Did they give up too much in your mind? Probably.
They definitely feel like, I can tell you how they feel. Look, we got it going this year. And this is we got somebody that's healthy, can shut down half of the field, and could really make us, go from a good team, good regular season team to, and I think this is where Chris Ballas is looking at it and, hey, look, what are we going to do in the playoffs to stop against really good receivers? They made that move for that reason, that this could take them to that next step. So it makes some sense. We'll see how how much juice it gives them down the road, or
Are you a
sauce down the
believer?
road, whatever.
Are you a believer to a point where you could see the Patriots going far in January? I mean, they're 7-2. All right, they have already won at Buffalo, and on the road they haven't lost yet. They're 4-0. Do you like the Patriots or do you love the Patriots?
I like them. I think they're good, and I think they deserve respect. In watching them on tape, they're kind of what you think they are. They're solid, fundamental, good. I do think in the playoffs against the elite quarterback play, they may have a hard time keeping up. Who knows? Maybe they can win a game or two. I don't see that being a deep run for them, but I've seen them make the playoffs. They look like a playoff team right now. I just don't know that I like them as a deep run playoff team.
All right, I want to get back to the game in Santa Clara on Sunday. We talked about the trade deadline, but now I want to get into the coaching and the head coaches and Shanahan and McVay and the injuries that have really piled up on San Francisco. They won earlier in the year. It was a Thursday night game in Los Angeles. The Rams 6-2. You look at the 49ers and they're a game back in the loss column. The Rams, could you see the Rams winning the NFC this year, or are they not there? I mean, I look at their defense. I look at points allowed. I look at their point differential. It's unbelievable. They've only allowed 127 points in 8 games.
Yeah, they're good. They're really good. And they got the quarterback that can really take over a game if you need to in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
But you just hit on it. The ability to be able to scheme the running game very well and get maximum out of that. Playmakers on that side of the ball, and defensively get stops. They're a little bit healthy. They look a little bit better. We'll see Sunday if they go on the road and win this. It's a big game, obviously, because you kind of get the sense still got a lot of football left, but you lose this, San Francisco, then boy, you really put yourself behind the 8 ball where you're chasing them. If the Rams win it, they feel really good about kind of separating. So, yeah, it's one of those games that's pretty big. You can get a feel for them too. Like how the matchups. We saw it early. We'll see it now. How things are shaping up and how these teams have progressed. I think the Rams are a little bit better now, so we'll see if that plays. And the Niners not as healthy, therefore not as good. So we'll see how that plays out. But I often say it's about positioning. So the regular season is really, really important because if you play your way out of it, then you're in deep trouble to get back into it. And if you kind of get to that point where you can get a high seed and stay healthy, I think you can make a deep run if you get some breaks. I think that's the Rams. I think the Rams are capable. I thought that they this is last year, but by comparison, I thought they played the best game against Philadelphia and had a really good chance to win that. We'll just see how healthy they are, because I don't think they're most people's depth is going to hurt them if they have some key injuries. We discussed that, but all last year and with the Niners and this year. But I like this Rams team. I think they've got good balance, and I think they are a threat in the NFC. I don't think the Eagles are, a clear favorite. I think the Detroit's really good, but not unbeatable. I think Tampa's good, but I don't necessarily like them deep. I think the Rams are absolutely in play, and I think Seattle's really good. It's going to be fun down the stretch to see who can be the healthiest and playing the best towards the end of the year.
Chris, now that we are at the midway point of the NFL season, which coaches are on life support? The ones that are on the hottest of seats?
Yeah, I think there's going to be a change in Miami, even though there's not one yet. They're going to wait to the end of the year. That, to me, has got to be dead man walking. I just don't see that changing any other way. I'm not a big fan of, we need to get rid of Dayball in New York. I want to see that. I think he's actually, a really good coach. It's struggling. I wonder if not because he deserves to be on the hot seat. I wonder if Bisciotti will maybe look at things and say, maybe it's time. John Harbaugh's been here a long time. I hope not, but that might be a possibility. Cleveland's always good for a coaching change. That's always a possibility.
Yeah, that's part of their legacy.
Yeah. So, I think that's where I'd look most of all. I think it's too early, and they've got too many personnel issues in Arizona to start pulling the plug on Jonathan Gannon. But I think we always have some surprises. Stay tuned on that, because the coach that begins to lose his team at the end of the year, we can throw them on the throw them on the fire too. But right now, that's kind of how I see it.
Let's talk college football for a couple of moments. This week, the College Football Playoff Committee came out with their first rankings. Do you have any issues with the top 10?
Not as much as most people. I mean, if you look at, everyone takes things literal. Okay, well, they're going to put more emphasis on strength of schedule. Well, A&M's got the stronger strength of schedule. They should be in. No, not necessarily. They've got a strength of schedule that's good. But if you watch them, they are not as good looking, in my opinion, as Ohio State. So I agree with that. Even though Ohio State has not played a tough schedule, there's a certain amount of, when you look at, you can see the difference. I often look at it, and maybe this is not the right way. And it's close, I often say, if they played, who do I like in the game? And that's kind of how I do it. And I don't think there's really anything wrong yet. I do find it intriguing how far Miami slipped. Miami beat Notre Dame, but man, they've struggled recently, and boy, they've really dropped. They're going all the way to 18. So there's some interesting things that no one is ever going to be happy about this playoff seeding and these ranking systems. There's going to be arguing every week. It's just the way it is.
Let me ask the question this way. In your opinion, how many teams in college football do you think are realistically capable of winning the national championship?
I really think there are only 3 or 4. I do think, though, there's more balance this year. So let's just take Ohio State. Not as good as last year, in my view. That's okay. They don't have to play last year's team. They may be the best team this year. I think Alabama's good, not great. Georgia is just solid, but can absolutely be beaten. I do think Indiana's really good. I think they might legitimately have a threat. I don't think a lot of teams do, though. I think Notre Dame is playing really well. I think, like they made a little run last year in the playoffs. If they do it this year, I don't think I think they could play with Ohio State and maybe beat them this year. So I still think there's only 5. There's not 12 teams that can win the championship. No. And I think the people that are going to be left out are not teams that would win the title. But I think what's going to happen, Grant, is making the playoffs is going to be the litmus test. And quite frankly, the thing that's going to determine whether some coaches keep jobs long term. I mean, it's going to be that you got to make the playoffs. And so it's really important to make it. And then, although that's what I think, you never know. You play a game and things happen, and you find a way and you get hot and maybe you can win it. We have not had that before in major college football. It's always been about, we take the best teams from the regular season. It's always been a regular season sport. It still is a regular season sport, but it's now more open in the playoffs where more teams can get in, and then therefore more teams could get hot and get the right matchup, and all of a sudden they won 2 games and they went further than anybody anticipated.
Chris, when I look at Indiana and the contract extension, and in the SEC now, I look at the job that is available in Florida, LSU, and then I look at Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss, 6th in the country, having a great year. Should I read anything into it that there has not been an extension agreed to yet?
Yeah, the read is that Lane and his agent Jimmy Sexton doesn't want to commit just yet because I think he wants to milk everything they can out of Ole Miss. I think he'll stay at Ole Miss. I think they're progressing towards that. But, I think it's easy for the coaches. I'm focusing on the season. I'm not fooling with that. Well, Jimmy Sexton can continue to work and continue to float stuff out in the media like, hey, Florida's going to offer $13.5 million for 10 years. And let that be absorbed up in Oxford. And it they may get a little bit more and a little bit more for not just him, but his staff, his assistants, NIL. That's how the game is played. I think that Kurt Cignetti is, look, you can question the length of that deal at Indiana. I mean, Kurt's 64. I don't know about that. They may regret that down the road. But Kurt's a great coach. He said, no, I mean, I'm not interested in looking at Penn State. I want to stay here. Boom. I think what you can take of it is that while Lane may stay at Ole Miss, they could have gotten the deal wrapped up by now. You are kind of sniffing in the right direction that while I think he'll stay, I think there's more to be gained by letting his name out there from a negotiating standpoint.
You know, final thing, as you said, Indiana. They've always been a basketball power. They've never been a football power. So this is a completely different situation, is it not? And you've got a coach that's brought you success, and you can talk all you want about his age, but the reality is it's still Indiana. Yep. And they've only jumped onto this stage recently. So I get that. It makes sense to me. I mean, I know that I can't compare it to what's going on at LSU or, LSU, Florida, Ole Miss, but it's different, is it not?
Yeah, it is. And let me make sure I'm clear, because a good friend of Kurt and was a good friend of his dad. Look, he's 64. That's still young. What I'm saying, on a 10-year deal, they still want him to be the coach when he's 70 or 71. If they want to move on from him then they're going to have to bite the bullet. So that's what I was thinking there. But look, this is a perfect example of, if you've got money to put in NIL, Mark Cuban, Indiana grad, putting a lot of that in there.
Yeah.
Guess what? Kids would go, they're not going to Indiana to win a championship. They got to go to Ohio State or Michigan to do that. Oh, wait a minute. Now I can go and get paid.
Yeah.
You get more players and you get good players. And all of a sudden now, why can't you compete and win a championship at Indiana? This is where I think it's no longer going to be, and this is where more balance, it's no longer going to be, well, we got to go to these handful of schools, the true blue bloods, to win it. I would have told you that 5 years ago, there's no chance Ole Miss could win a national championship. They haven't done it. I mean, it's been Johnny Vaught in the 50s before they were voted in one poll. I mean, it doesn't happen. You know why? Because it hasn't happened. But guess what? Maybe it's changed. Maybe it's different. I still think it's easier to win a title at Florida and LSU. But what if you're happy at Ole Miss? What if you've got the money to create your NIL? You know what? You can compete for a national title. And guess what? If you go 9-3 at Indiana or Ole Miss, they're not going to fire you. If you do that at Florida or LSU for 2 years, you're out the door.
By the way, thank you for saying that 64 is young, because I'm 66, and so you made me feel a lot better, because I don't think you go from young to old in 2 years.
You are spry. You are spry, and you're good into your 80s, my man. You know, you got it. You got it. That is really young. Hey, look, I'm creeping up to you, so I'm not far behind.
All right.
But
listen.
I feel a lot older.
I love it. You enjoy your weekend. Everyone check out Landry Football, both on YouTube. He's got a lot of great videos that he puts out, his website, LandryFootball.com. We'll talk to you next week. You take care.
You take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. I love talking with Chris. He has great knowledge, talking about both the NFL and college. Okay, we'll come back and we'll continue on the topic of the day. We'll talk about the Kings. We'll talk about Steph Curry. All of that next on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Fox Sports traffic. We're still trying to clean up that earlier accident. I-80 eastbound at Antelope Road. Left lane remains blocked off. You got stop-and-go traffic pretty much from US 50 out to that scene, so give yourself that extra time. Also, I-5 northbound, southbound in between Top of the Town Freeway and US 50. Also very busy with rush hour delays, so definitely give yourself some extra time as you head out of the office and start making your way home. With Twice an Hour traffic, I'm Andy Bass for Fox Sports Sacramento.
Traffic brought to you by Gabroods Electrical. Homeowners, for any electrical project you need done, trust the good dudes at Gabroods. Locally owned, 5-star service experts, and always transparent prices and solutions. Say goodbye to your electrical issues with Gabroods. GUBRUDS.com.
Looking for the perfect spot to watch the game and enjoy amazing food and drinks? Look no further than Fieldhouse American Sports Pub. Family owned and operated, Fieldhouse is passionate about creating a fun, welcoming atmosphere for everyone. Spice things up on Tuesdays with Taco Tuesday. Buy any order of our delicious tacos and get a refreshing margarita for just $6. On Wednesday, Fieldhouse features incredible drink specials. Enjoy $5 well drinks and ice cold pints all day long. Fieldhouse was voted the #1 sports bar in Sacramento. Tons of TVs, a mouth-watering menu, and daily specials. It's the perfect sports bar to catch all the action. Visit us today at 1833 Fulton Avenue. Fieldhouse American Sports Pub, where the food is fantastic, the drinks are flowing, and the good times never stop. Fieldhouse, bring it to the house.
The holidays can be a time of increased stress for those struggling with opioid or stimulant use disorder. Complex family dynamics, financial strain, and cultural expectations can weigh heavily and become a tipping point for those battling the physical and mental effects of addiction. But the holidays can also be a time for pause, reflection, opportunity, and new beginnings. They're a chance to take stock of what we have and are thankful for, to remember what's most important to us, and to consider what we can change. The holidays are a time of hope. So this holiday season, choose treatment and recovery. Embrace the support and company of family and friends, and create special moments. Get started by finding a proven opioid or stimulant addiction treatment provider near you at choosechangeca.org. Find a proven treatment option that's right for you. Recover you at choosechangeca.org. That's choosechangeca.org.
Snakes, zombies, public speaking, the list of fears is endless. But the real danger is in your hand when you're behind the wheel. Distracted driving is what's really scary and even deadly. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
My thanks to Chris Landry, LandryFootball.com. Kings and Thunder tomorrow, still waiting for the official injury report as it relates to tomorrow. So I was wrong about Steph Curry. He's been ruled out for tomorrow's game in Denver. I thought he would be playing. He has been ruled out with illness. So, and for the message that I received about Steph Curry, I didn't say he wasn't sick. That was not my issue with Steph. My issue was how it was handled. That was my biggest issue. I never once said he wasn't sick. I never once said that he should absolutely play. I said that I didn't like the way it went down after the game. There's a big difference. There's a big difference. But he will not play in Denver tomorrow. And without him, I can't see them beating the Denver Nuggets. I really can't. I can't. Hey, did you tell me, Ryan, that Anthony Edwards is questionable for the game coming up with Minnesota after playing in New York?
Yeah, the latest injury report, we'll be getting another one here in about 10 minutes. He is questionable tonight with that same hamstring.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is maybe, and again, I'm saying maybe because I don't know the answer to this, that he's under a watch in terms of not being able to play back-to-back or what have you, right? Like, in other words, I don't know what's going on. So we look at what's on the horizon. It's Thursday, and they play Sunday in Sacramento. So we'll see if he's going to be on the floor or not.
Yeah, something to keep an eye on for sure.
Yeah. Hopefully the injury report comes out here in the next couple of moments. I would love to go over that with the Kings. And I think, to be honest with you, I mean, is it important for Sacramento? Well, obviously. You're not going to beat Oklahoma City without Zach LaVine and Domantas Sabonis. You're just not, okay? I don't care who plays. You're not beating Oklahoma City without those two guys. But you look at Oklahoma City last night and all of the players they didn't have. I mean, we know that Jalen Williams is still out. Chet Holmgren didn't play. Dort didn't play. Caruso didn't play. So I'm really curious to see what that is going to look like when the Oklahoma City officially released their injury report.
Yeah, I know we talked about it last night on the postgame show, and if you don't like that, but if you could only have one of the two between Sabonis and LaVine, who you taking?
Well, I would rather have Sabonis because they don't have anyone that can do what he does, whereas at least at shooting guard, you've got options and players that can play there and still score. You know?
Yeah, I'm torn on that one. I lean Sabonis, but with the amount of zone defense they're going to play against Oklahoma City, you've got some guys that can play that middle spot.
Yeah. I don't think you beat Oklahoma City coming off a loss. I think it's a real tough spot for them, but that's okay because I wasn't counting on them beating Oklahoma City anyway. The games that I'm really counting on the Kings being right there, Minnesota on Sunday, and even though it's the third game in 4 nights, Atlanta. I don't like how they match up with Denver. They just don't match up. Without Keegan Murray to guard Aaron Gordon or whomever, you just don't match up with Denver. And I didn't think Denver shot the ball very well the other night, and they toyed with Sacramento. So I don't really like that matchup for Sacramento. I look at the NBA, it's matchups. I don't really look at a team's record as much as I look at matchups. I just don't like the matchup with Denver. It's just not a good matchup for Sacramento.
Yeah, it's not. And especially when you have an aggressive Jokic like you did a few nights ago. That's a problem. It was kind of like a cat playing with the thing of yarn, how they would just kind of bring it closer and then push it away with the Kings. But, you've got to get through. I think you need to get at least one more win on this homestand. It's got to come between
You have to.
Atlanta
You
or
absolutely
Minnesota.
have to. You have to. The other part about Denver is they've got 3 days off before they play Sacramento. So they play on Monday, and then they don't play, they play on Saturday in Denver, and then they don't play again until Tuesday in Sacramento.
And, it actually is the first national TV game for the Kings on NBC. So maybe the Kings get a little bump from the crowd. It's going to be rocking.
Yeah, they better get a bump that Nikola Jokic comes down with the flu and can't play. That's the bump they need.
Well, who knows? We've seen weirder things. Grant, the Kings have the weirdest luck when it comes to guys sitting out. It seems like every year.
It is unbelievable, isn't it?
The past 3 years, yes. Somebody big will be missing a game when the Kings are playing the big boys.
It is. It's incredible. It really is. It's absolutely amazing. So anyway, we'll wait for the injury report to come out. So the end of the game was different, but you can't always get a real feel for how a crowd is from TV. I mean, you can sometimes. So I had a couple of buddies at the game last night, and at halftime they were messaging me, and they said the atmosphere was dead. They
It was
said
awkward. Yeah.
He said it was terrible.
Yes, it was probably the biggest pops that you were getting from the crowd were Golden State pops.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a very weird half. It wasn't a great half of basketball all the way around. And I think you're probably upset. You're a little bit down if you're a Kings fan because you're there to see the Kings, but you're also there to see Steph Curry. You're there to see Jimmy Butler.
It takes the luster off the game.
No doubt. It was closer to Golden State was closer to playing a G League team last night than they were actually an NBA team.
No doubt about that. And so Curry is not playing. So I doubt that he even made the trip to Denver. I doubt that he got on the plane. He's still in the Bay Area because they go home to play one game and then they go back out onto the road for a while. So Steve Kerr wanted him to get rest. He's going to be getting rest, and that's good for them as they have a very long road trip starting up. I'm with you 100% though in Sacramento. They have to figure out a way to win at least one game here because, Ryan, we've gone over this schedule time and time again, right? It is a brutal schedule, brutal. And they're in survival mode right now. They have to figure out a way to survive because when you look at the schedule here, okay, these 4 games coming up at home, and then you're at Minnesota, at San Antonio, at Oklahoma City, at Memphis, at Denver. I mean, that's a brutal, brutal stretch other than maybe Memphis.
Yeah. What would you set? We talked about 500 through this stretch. You'd be in incredible shape, but
I don't think 500 is obtainable.
I agree. So that's why I was going to ask, what would be the drop dead best record that the Kings could probably still manage going forward coming through this stretch?
Okay. Best case scenario.
Best case.
Okay. This is best case. Win against Minnesota and Atlanta. Okay?
Okay.
Lose Oklahoma City and Denver. All right? So you have 4 games left. You head out onto the road, 2 games under 500. You have to, again, best case, you have to win the Memphis game. They're in just disarray right now.
Agree.
You're not going to win at Oklahoma City unless SGA and a couple other guys aren't playing. Victor Wembanyama may have 100 points and 100 rebounds against Sacramento. You're not going to win at Denver. I could see winning at Minnesota because I think the Kings have played well there. And if you're healthy, meaning you have Sabonis and Levine, I think you could win Minnesota.
Yeah.
So again, best case scenario, go 2-3 on that road trip, and you come back home only 3 games under 500, and you've withstood the storm, and you have Minnesota at home, Phoenix at home, at Utah, home Memphis, and then you're feeling good as you get ready to roll into December. And by the way, welcome to December. At Houston, at Miami, the first 2 games on the road in December. So in my opinion, best case scenario that I went over. Disagree or agree?
I would agree with you. I think maybe you can get one more game. I think you can get San Antonio. Wemby, maybe. I do. I think
that they don't match up with them.
Well, Wemby has been a little bit off. Maybe it's an off night for him. Maybe it's a rest night. There's no update on when De'Aaron Fox is going to be returning. I think you might get greedy there. But as you said, when you come back and you hit the road again, if you're where you're at with your best case scenario, it's Minnesota, Phoenix, Utah. It's Utah, Memphis, and then Houston. I think Utah and Memphis are both very winnable there. Maybe you come off with a little bit of momentum, right?
All right. I'm going to give you now the most likely scenario. Okay. You're now 3-5. The most likely scenario is you only win 1 game of the next 4.
Okay.
And on the road, you only win 1 game of those 5. That's the most likely scenario. And so if that happens, then you're buried when you come home to take on Minnesota on the 24th.
Yeah.
Because who are you putting the Kings as a favor against? They're not favored tomorrow. They're not going to be favored against Denver. The Minnesota game, you're probably not going to be favored. No. And the Atlanta game is the 3rd game in 4 nights on a back-to-back while Atlanta's in town. And yes, we know they don't have Trae Young, but this is an older Sacramento team. 3rd game in 4 nights. We've seen how that works.
They might be if they're healthy, they might be small favored by like maybe a point and a half.
Over whom?
Atlanta.
Yeah, I think they could be favored over Atlanta, but they're not going to be favored tomorrow, Denver, or I don't think they're going to be favored against Minnesota.
If they are, take it. Run.
Yeah.
No,
Minnesota's not knocking my socks off right now, but again, their best player's been out. They're only 500 at 4-4.
No, and we're creeping closer during this stretch. Do you think we might have whispers of Keegan Murray back when you got Minnesota at home?
Yes. At the end of November, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that's at least a scenario that I would not just rule out. So, yes.
With you.
Yeah. All right. We'll come back. We'll talk more about this. Get you right up till 6 o'clock. We'll start talking in the 3rd hour, a little more football. And by then, hopefully, the injury reports are out. We can dissect that right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
For nearly all of us, our home is our biggest investment. And just as important as what it looks like on the outside is what is happening on the inside. How long has it been since you had your home's electrical integrity checked? Whether your home is 10 or more years old or even a newer build, the safe rule of thumb is to get the electrical inspected at least every 5 years. At Gabrud's, electrical work is all we do. We're the area's recognized experts. Panel replacements, whole house fans, generators, solar, and more. But home inspections are what we do most often. Whether you have a difficult electrical situation or it's just time to ensure your home and family are safe, Call locally owned Gabroods for our thorough 12-point expert inspection. Gabroods, serving our Northern California neighbors for more than 30 years. Gabroods, G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Call the good dudes at Gabroods, G-U-B-R-U-D-S, Gabroods.com.
At Downtown Ford Sacramento, we're proud of our long heritage. We've consistently provided Ford cars and trucks to families and businesses in this region for over 100 years. If we think about it, practically every kid who grew up in this town at one time or another rode around in a Ford that we sold to their family. We've served multiple generations of local farmers and ranchers who got their rugged Ford trucks from us. We've also provided many of the emergency vehicles that you see out doing the people's work every day on the streets. All of us at Downtown Ford, from our top-notch service department who keep your Ford running like new, to our dedicated finance team and the guys and gals in our showroom, we thank you for generations of love and loyalty to us. And for that love, we say right back at you. We're doing Fords just like we always have. Come see us any day of the week or visit us online at downtownfordsacramento.com.
Looking for the ultimate night out? Welcome to HQ Showgirls, Sacramento's premier adult gentlemen's club. We're the only topless club between Reno and San Francisco serving alcohol, beer, wine, and champagne. All inside over 6,000 square feet of pure excitement. Planning a party or a VIP night? Call our VIP manager now at 916-389-0199 to book your table. Come experience the energy at HQ Showgirls, 851 Richards Boulevard, Sacramento. Open 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Sunday through Thursday and until 4 a.m. Friday and Saturday. Visit hqnightclub.com, where the night begins and never stops.
For more than 4 decades, Sierra Pacific Home and Comfort has been trusted by home and business owners for their professional expertise in heating, air conditioning, and solar energy. Your home is your castle, and at Sierra Pacific, we thank you for 40 great years of trusting us to protect your castle. Sierra Pacific Home and Comfort, solar, heating, and air. SierraPacificHome.com.
Sierra Pacific Solar Heating and Air, the guys in the big red trucks.
Business owners, Grant Napier's back, bringing Fox Sports Radio to the forefront of sports talk in Sacramento. That means more listeners, more potential customers who could be spending money for your products and services. This is Kurt Bagelman, General Manager for Fox Sports Radio in Sacramento. Grant's back, and his return is an opportunity for your business. Listen, the sports talk audience is a target-rich group of consumers. 80% are employed, nearly 60% earn six-figure incomes, 67% own their homes. Take advantage of the attention Grant's return has generated to tell people where to spend their money. This is a unique opportunity to increase your sales right now. It costs nothing to learn how a good strategy and a great commercial message heard by sports fans could help your business. So call me, 916-779-0914. 779-0914. Radio and Grant get results, and we are here to help. Call 779-0914.
Hey, I was really happy to see Isaac Jones find a home with a good team, the Detroit Pistons, to fill out their roster, Rhino. So the Kings made way for Precious Achiuwa, and Isaac Jones was the man that got released. So good for him. Good for him that he was picked up off waivers.
Yeah, very happy for him. Decent landing spot, better team. And it tells you that the league values Isaac Jones, Grant.
Not only are they a better team, they're second in the East. Raise your hand if you had Chicago and Detroit 1 and 2 in the East after the first 3 weeks of the NBA season.
Anyone? Back row?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
How about that, huh? I think the biggest disappointment in the East so far has to be Orlando, Rhino. They're only 3 and 5.
Yeah, no doubt about it. They're trying to figure it out. I think they eventually will. Their defense is too good. Shots will start going down. But if they don't, Orlando got a good guy that can come off the bench for you in DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah, no question. Atlanta, who we talked about, that will be in at the end of this homestand, they're hanging in there. They've won 3 of 4, okay, and they don't have Trae Young, but, they took advantage of a very, very weak schedule, winning at Brooklyn, winning at Indiana. Then they lost to Cleveland, 117-109, and they just beat Orlando by a wide margin, 127-112. So they have Toronto, They have the Lakers. Then they start a road trip in L.A. They have a day off. Then they play Sacramento. So they'll be well rested. They only have the Clippers day off Sacramento. As again, the Kings will be playing their third game in 4 nights. So keep an eye on that. They all listen. It's about survival right now. It just is. And maybe you get a break, and maybe you take on Minnesota without Anthony Edwards. Maybe you just never know, right? Someone gets sick, somebody sprains an ankle. You just keep playing, man. Keep playing.
Some analytic tells the training staff that this guy needs a night off.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Do you think it's odd that here we are at 5:43 Pacific time, right?
Yeah.
Or excuse me, 4:43 Pacific time, and we don't have an updated injury report at 4:43?
A little bit, but there's only one game going on tonight in the NBA. So I don't know if that has a big bearing on it. It shouldn't. The Kings didn't have media availability today. My assumption is that they at least got some film in, maybe some shooting. So how about you?
Yeah, I'm a little surprised, especially with everything that's been going on in terms of transparency and everything else. And again, I understand the game's not until tomorrow, but I'm a little surprised because normally you would update this after your practice, regardless of whether it's film, practice, or whatever. It's normally updated, after that.
Well, maybe some guys are getting some extra treatment, and that has
Maybe.
some bearing on it.
Maybe, but it's the same thing with Oklahoma City.
Yeah, true. Very true.
Yeah. And their list last night was huge. How many players did not play last night for Oklahoma City? And they lost to Portland. I'll tell you, we talked about Portland a lot, Rhino, when we were previewing the season. We kept on talking about watch out for Portland. They may not be great, but you're going to have to be ready to play them. You're not going to be able to just go, oh, we got Portland, we can coast. You're not coasting against Portland anymore. They're 5-3. They're 5-3, and they're a team that you better take seriously when you play them.
Grant, they're equipped to deal with a lot of the powers in the West physically. They are a very tall, very long team. They're young, but sometimes you can be young and not realize how good you're becoming and just go on a run. But I'm happy for them. This is a rebuild that they have executed perfectly, and it's a fan base that deserves a good product. And they're turning out. I think I said it last night. They're going to be the darlings of the West. Doesn't mean they're going to be at the top, but they're going to be the team that catches the traction that you weren't expecting nationally.
Yeah. Very, very good things are going up there in the Pacific Northwest.
Yep.
Good things are going up there in Portland, and I like their future. Yep. I like their future.
You were saying that during the summer.
Yeah. And they don't see Sacramento until they have a home and home on, I want to say, the 18th and the 20th when they play in Sacramento and
Yes.
or no, in Portland and then in Sacramento.
That's interesting that they're splitting the two. Usually it is now two in the same city.
All right. This message, Doug Christie said Russell Westbrook would not be starting if the Kings were healthy. Whose spot is he taking right now? Well, what it means is if when Keegan Murray comes back, Keegan starts on the front line with DeMar DeRozan and Domantas Sabonis, and the backcourt is Schroeder and, of course, Zach LaVine. The only place that he could start, if you were talking about that five, would be for Schroeder and have Schroeder coming off the bench. And I don't see them doing that. I don't see them doing that I just think that would be a bad look for Scott Perry. That's my opinion.
You couldn't start him at the 3?
You're going to really take DeMar DeRozan? I want to be in that conversation when they tell him that he's not starting anymore.
I am with you. I don't, from a respect standpoint, from still how important DeMar is for this team.
I would start Keegan at the 3 before I would start Westbrook and just put him on the front line with Sabonis and Keegan if you want to do that.
Say that again?
I want to see Keegan Murray play some small forward.
So does Scott Perry. Yeah.
I understand. So, I mean, how many games has Russell Westbrook started during this stretch where he's technically playing the 4?
Yeah. I mean, it depends on the matchup.
Of course it does.
Yeah. I think, and Keegan said this, I actually asked him about it. He doesn't care if he's playing 3 or 4. The Kings do.
Very true. Very true.
The way that the shot distribution is now, I don't think what Doug Christie said, getting Keegan 10 threes, it's going to be anywhere close to that.
No.
Once he returns.
And the other issue is, I know Russell Westbrook had a great game last night, but he's going to be better on this team coming off the bench. And I think we got to, pump the brakes a little bit on that. And you also have to look at what the big picture is. And I think the big picture of this season will be determined on the schedule that we just went over.
Well,
I mean, you're either going to be right around survival, what we discussed, best case scenario on this homestand and on the road, or you're going to get buried and you might have a different outlook. Because I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm going to go over this, and I'm going to go over this, and I'm going to go over this. The worst thing you can be if you're Sacramento this year is a 35-win team.
Yes.
Okay, that is no man's land. So either you are going to play and try to get into the top 8, or you need to be near the very bottom because the draft looks very promising. And I know it's the luck of the ping pong balls, and I get all of that. But if the Kings want to be relevant, and when I mean relevant, I think we all understand what that means. You have to get that player in the draft. It looks like they got a good one in Nick Clifford, but you need another one, okay? And you got a better chance if you're in the top 4 than if you are at the back part of the lottery, or you are, in the low teens. It's not or 15 or 14 or 16. I mean, I'll take my chances 1, 2, 3, or 4 over 12, 13, 14. 35 wins to me is the worst scenario you could lay out for this team this year. It's the worst.
Or whatever number Dallas was last year. What was that?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
But seriously, getting back to the starting lineup, Grant, Malik said last night it's been an issue coming out slow for the last couple years. You're going to have to tweak something if this continues. This team is not going to be able to dig itself out of holes. So I think the defense gets a little bit better with Keegan Murray. Well, not a little bit. It gets better with Keegan Murray returning, but I don't know that Keegan changes the balance and the tempo of that first unit. It's unbalanced. It's too slow. I think it's something, if you are going to go for it, you got to look at, and who's going to be the one to come out of it.
Hey, I want to spend a moment to talk to you about Village Financial Group and the broker owner and Spencer, who I've known for 25 years. This is a family-owned business. Again, he started right around 2000. And when you talk about real estate, properties are now selling again, and people are starting to act, and they're getting properties before Christmas and the New Year. And there are a lot of available properties. And finally, we're getting a break with the interest rates at or below 6%, and it's really spurring the market again. And whether it is a home equity line of credit, if you are buying a home, all right, selling a home, Spence is very creative when it comes to financing. He's got a lot of experience. He's really a financing specialist, and he has access to private money. Village Financial Group, all right, give Spence a call or text Spence at 916-805-4868. That's 916-805-4868. And be sure and ask about the investor special. Talk about all the properties available. You go to Village Financial Group's website, vfgloans.com. You can find over 9,000 properties available for purchase. It makes sense to call Spence at 916-805-4868. Village Financial Group, looking out for your best interest. You think the game tonight is a blowout? You think Denver blows out the Raiders?
I don't. It's Thursday night football. Weird things happen. It's a divisional game. The Raiders have not been good. They were close last week. I think Denver pulls it out, but not the way they should.
All right.
You?
Yeah, you talk we're going, football, basketball, football. Very unusual schedule in the NBA tonight, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Only one. They're loading up on the NBA Cup games. Granted, it takes extra time to install those special courts.
Yeah. How long? Oh, gosh.
You ready? Are your eyes ready?
What was the court that I just got ill watching the other night? The Clippers court? I mean, it was just awful. Terrible.
Was it
just Awful.
Was it Houston last year that was just red
for
the most part? There was
it's a
one
bad
of
look
them
on
that was
TV,
bad.
isn't it?
Oh, it's
Might look good in
awful.
person, but boy, on TV, it's horrible.
Especially with the arenas and the lighting now.
Terrible.
And the LEDs that go around, they bounce off the court. Ooh.
Terrible. We'll see what the Kings looks like. When's their first cup game at home?
Tomorrow night.
Oh, that is tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you for the warning on that. I didn't realize that tomorrow we got to look at that ugly. Well, maybe it's not ugly. Maybe it's not as bad as some of the other courts.
They had a gray court, I believe, for the first one.
Right.
I don't remember what it was last year.
What do you think they spend on those courts? It's got to be a heck of a lot of money.
Why would it be any more than any other court?
Well, it's still expensive, right? And now
Yeah.
you got all this extra crap going on, and we'll see what the uniforms are and everything else. I just don't know why it's necessary to do this. I mean, why can't you just have a special logo on the floor that you use for the cup games instead of this nonsense?
Amen.
It's just, I don't get it.
Put it at center court if you want to. Just
Yeah,
do
the
that.
logo?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't get it. Yep. You're going to the game tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I will be there.
Okay.
Looking
Sounds
forward
good.
to it.
And we're going to have our post-game show tomorrow, right after the Kings and the Thunder, as Sacramento looks for what would be a huge upset over the Oklahoma City Thunder. Again, we are waiting on the latest injury report for both the Thunder and the Kings, which was significant last night. Significant. So when that comes out, we will let you know. Will Chet Holmgren play? He did not play last night, but he played the night before in L.A. against the Clippers. He did not play last week when the Oklahoma City won. Will Caruso play? Based on what I'm hearing, I think Caruso is good to go. I don't know about Dort. And again, Holmgren's been dealing with a couple of back issues. He had missed, I think it was either 3 in a row or 4 in a row before he played in the Clippers game. And they just didn't want to go back to back on him with his, back issue. So he's really good. And again, that's a nightmare matchup for Sacramento. Chet Holmgren is a nightmare matchup if he's playing tomorrow for the Oklahoma City Thunder. I mean, who are they going to guard on him, Rhino? Who are you going to put on Chet Holmgren? See, I don't see it.
Yeah. You're going to throw some Max at him. You're going to throw some Eubanks at him. You cannot throw Cardwell at him.
No.
I would have said IJ before the Kings cut him.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think Precious is great on him either. Precious still needs to get into shape.
No.
Tough matchup.
Again, we'll keep our eye on that as soon as it comes out. Don't forget Grant's Rant. Yeah, Grant's Rant coming up to start hour number 3. Your phone calls, always welcome, right here on the Grant Napear Show, 916-779-0929. You can use that number to text the show as well. Again, that's 779-0929. Yeah, getting ready for Thursday night football. The Raiders, the Broncos, 2 teams going in opposite directions. Will it be close? That game starts in about 15 minutes or so. We got a lot to talk about. The Grant Napear Show, Fox Sports Sacramento.
Fox Sports traffic as we take another look at the roadways. Still very busy throughout the Sacramento area with heavy rush hour delays. Give yourself that extra time to work your way through those delays, especially Cap City Freeway in between the I-80 interchange and US 50 in between Howe Avenue and the I-5 interchange. Very busy. So just give yourself lots of extra time as you head home. The good news in all of this, there are no reported accidents throughout Sacramento. With twice an hour traffic, I'm Andy Bass for Fox Sports Sacramento.
Ready to turn your idle equipment into cash? Purple Wave Auction is your solution. We specialize in no-reserve online auctions, bringing nationwide buyers to your doorstep. From excavators to dozers, we'll market your assets to a vast audience of eager buyers. No hauling required. We photograph and list your equipment where it sits. Experience our transparent and simple process with expert support. Join successful sellers who trust Purple Wave. Visit purplewave.com today to learn how easy selling can be.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. The Raiders are in trouble. 2-6. They own the league's 29th ranked scoring offense and a defense that surrendered more than 26 points per game. Hardly the start Pete Carroll envisioned when he took over. And tonight, they go against the 7-2 Broncos. Beating Denver won't be easy, but if you're looking for hope, look across the sideline. Sean Payton inherited a Broncos team that was broken, directionless, saddled with questions at quarterback. A couple of years later, he's got everything he needs. And that's the blueprint Pete Carroll's trying to follow. The Raiders aren't there yet. They need more consistency on offense, maybe a couple of impact players on defense, but they do have Ashton Genty, Max Crosby, and Pete Carroll's steady hand in guiding the rebuild. Also throw in Brock Bowers. There is potential. If done right, the team standing across the field tonight is a perfect representation of what is possible and what it's going to take for better days ahead. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. It's being called the Golden Bonanza Sweepstakes. Thanks to our friends at Mako, the DP Show, proud to be a part of this, giving listeners a chance to join us in San Francisco for Super Week. That's right, a trip for two, including round-trip coach airfare, 3 nights, hotel stay, ground transportation, and VIP access to see us do our show. If that's not enough, Mako also giving away 5 free paint jobs and 10 Mako and DP Show swag bags as runner-up prizes. It's really simple to enter. You go to danpatrick.com. The best news, you can enter daily for a chance to win. You can also receive a 25% off coupon to use at any Mako shop. Visit any Mako location now for a free estimate and redeem the coupon. Terms and conditions apply. Remember, go to danpatrick.com for official rules. No purchase necessary. Void in Alaska, Hawaii, and where prohibited. Open to contiguous U.S. D.C. residents 18 or over. Ends 11/23.
Grant Napear is back every weekday afternoon, 3 to 6. This is Fox Sports, KSAC 890 AM Olivehurst, K284CM 104.7 FM Sacramento.
It's time for Grant.
What are you serving me up this afternoon, Rhino?
All right. I've got a hot platter that involves the grocery store again, Grant.
Oh, boy.
How about people that are on speakerphone? While you're in line and you're part of their conversation, you're hearing things you don't need to hear. In this day and age, just put the phone to your ear, please. Get some earbuds. I don't need to hear the crying baby in the background. So unnecessary speakerphone in public places. Second, Antonio Brown. Why? How? Attempted murder. Come on. And last but not least, I think keeping in the theme of the day, internet bullies. If you're an internet bully, you have no life. Get a life.
You know, those are some really good rant ideas. I'm going to go with the first one. And I don't understand why, when you are in public on your phone, that you talk loud. So many people talk loud where you can hear everything, even if you're not next to that person. I don't know about you, but when I'm on the phone talking to an individual, I don't want other people around me listening to what I'm saying, even if it's a benign topic, okay? And it's also called consideration. You know, the obnoxious people that we're talking about that feel like they're sitting in their living room talking on a phone with just incredible level of volume. What's wrong with these people?
Preach.
Seriously. You know what it is? It's common sense. When you're on an airplane, I mean, that is the worst when you're on an airplane. Why do you have to talk so loud? Why not lower your voice? They can hear you. But I mean, you're sitting on, let's say, 8A at a window seat, and you can hear a person in 11F, all right, across the aisle, 3 rows behind you. Like, what's wrong with these people? And then the other thing is, you see other people turning around looking at that person like, what is your problem? You think they would get the hint, right? You would think that they would maybe kind of get the idea that they're being obnoxious, and they don't care. whether it's a grocery store, whether it's the airport, whether on a bus, whatever the case may be. Lower your freaking voice, would you please? We don't want to hear what you're saying. We understand that there are times that when you are around other people, you have to take a phone call. I get it. I've done that. Your wife calls you, your son calls you, your brother calls you, whatever the case may be. Your good friend, but you don't have to yap it up. You don't have to talk at a level that people, 50 yards away can hear you. Shut up, would you please? Lower your freaking voice and use some common sense. And as far as being on a speakerphone, what are you, a moron? You're going to be on a speakerphone in public? Seriously, like what is that all about? Like, why would you do that? You're online at a grocery store and you're on a speakerphone? Like, don't you care that there are other people around you and they're not only listening to your conversation, they're annoyed with your conversation? How about common sense? How about a little respect for your fellow man? How about respect? How about dealing with like reality and stop it already? What's wrong with people? That's number one. And number two, and in all fairness, I've done this before, but I really, really try to limit myself. When I'm walking down the street, okay, especially in a city, not necessarily like in El Dorado Hills where there's nobody out there. I mean, I got a better chance of stepping on a rattlesnake than I have of running into somebody if I'm on my phone, okay? If I'm looking at my phone. What's the deal with people that walk on a crowded street or in an airport looking at their phone and not paying attention to where they're going? And as you're walking towards that person, you're like, I am right now on a collision course, right? You know it. I know it. And you have to say, hey, like alert the person that they're going to crash into you. Like, what is that all about? You're on a crowded sidewalk or in an airport and you're on your phone looking at it and you don't even know where you're going? Like, what is that all about? Again, common freaking sense. I don't get it. I don't get it. And that's my rant for today. I mean, when you go to the Kings games and you're on the concourse, how many people are not watching where they're going because they're on their phones and they're looking and they're texting while they're walking and they're not really aware of getting ready to hit another person?
So many times.
All the time, right?
All the time. Or
Yep.
you've got your head down and you're looking at your food, or you're eating your food, you're swinging around to
Just
stop.
step aside then. Stop. I've done that before where I'm in a crowded area. I'm texting and I'm like, okay, I now need to stop. I'm going to move off to the side and I'm going to continue my texting, but I'm now out of harm's way. I'm not going to hit anyone and they're not going to run into me.
You know, I'm going to double down on that. You know, the bigger problem, the people that do the brake checks where they're walking at a normal speed, you're walking at a normal speed, and then they stop right there with their phone.
Oh,
because
the
they
worst.
need to get a message out.
Not only that, they stop in front of a revolving door or at the top of an escalator. Do you know how many times I go to a mall and the person in front of me is on their phone and they get off the escalator and they like slow down and stop? Hello, hello, like get out of the way. It happens all the time.
So
it's unbelievable
true.
to me.
It is so true. You added on to that beautifully. Well done.
It's ridiculous. All right. So that's my rant for this Thursday.
Hey,
Or let's go ahead.
I got to say this. I have seen karma catch up with some of the people that aren't on speakerphone, but they're doing the loud conversation. If you're one of those people, you better make sure that you're actually on the phone, because I have seen people that are acting like they're on the phone and they're doing the loud conversation. Yeah, we're hitting the bar tonight. Oh, she's going to call me later. And then their phone rings.
Yeah.
Put your phone on silent, brother, if you're going to try to pull that trick.
All right.
your
So
phone
Lynn
on
wants
silent.
to know who your pick is for the F1 race in Brazil. Have you started doing a little research on that or not yet?
Ferrari.
Okay. All right. Okay. How about a name?
Ferrari. Hey, I've got a lot going right now. Ferrari.
No, you do. Hey, I don't expect you to come up with a name. That's good. That's good. So
Lynn's going to keep me accountable. With
yes,
this
he is.
F1
He's keeping
stuff.
you on your toes.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right.
So he says Max Verstappen is going to win. We'll see. We'll see.
Where are they
coming
at?
down to the final couple of weeks?
Where are they at this week?
Brazil.
Okay.
The one thing that's very cool about the F1, they literally go to all corners of the globe. They really go everywhere. I mean, They go South America, they go to Australia, they go to Asia, they go to the UAE, they go, to the Persian Gulf. I mean, they're everywhere. They're absolutely everywhere.
How do they get all of their stuff if they're going long distances week to week?
Well, there's a couple of different ways that I've read. In some instances, they have 2 sets of equipment, okay, for everything, for transporting. But obviously, huge trucks, if they're able to go via a truck. And then if not, the cars themselves go in crates, and they are basically overnighted on your overnight jet, whether it's whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. That's the way they did with the Indy cars. Lynn would know this. When they went to Australia, they had a race in Australia every year, and all the cars would be literally put into, for lack of a better term, carts, all right, and secured and flown from, well, obviously they're flown, they're not going by boat. And how about the cost on that? Can you imagine the bill on that, shipping all the cars and all of the equipment to Australia from America for a race?
And the insurance? I'm taking the insurance on that for sure.
Wow. Yeah. It's pretty amazing when you look at the inner workings of these sports that are mobile, even the NFL. Like, I was looking at a video of what the Minnesota Vikings went through when they spent a week over in Europe, when they played the first week in, I want to say, I can't remember if it was London and then Germany, or was it Ireland and then London. But the point is, they went over there for a week, okay? And the amount of preparation and the amount of equipment and everything else, it was mind-boggling. Incredible. Mind-boggling.
I watched the Chargers one, and the planning to go overseas started a year before. They were shipping food that was not going to, go
That's
bad.
the other thing, the food.
Yep. They basically want to set up their headquarters the same they would set up their practice facility at the hotel. And the coordination, sending people over to check the field in advance, it was nuts. It's a year process for 1 week.
You talk about the food. So when we traveled internationally, I was in China in 2004. I was in China in 2014. I was in Tokyo, I want to say either 2000 or 2001. And then most recently in Mumbai. And the amount of preparation that goes into those trips, and the food, which they bring over themselves, and the dining hall and the amount of food there, it's incredible. Now, I don't know if for the India trip they brought their food, but like, all of that is planned out so far in advance.
Yeah. They were showing that they had to rent storage containers overseas.
Yeah.
For some of that stuff. So did you bring over stuff that was perishable?
You're talking about me or the team?
The team. Yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah. They bring all kinds of stuff over there. I don't know. I can't remember, but yes, absolutely. The dining was typical, for what I remember, typical American food. That was, yes.
I can't imagine most players being super adventurous with their food, like adjusting.
They're very basic. Most of the players that I know are they are very basic. And again, I don't know how it is now because of the emphasis on everything. But if you got on a King's charter, the rookies would have to go to a burger place and get, cheeseburgers for everybody, or chicken, or, you know what I mean? Like, I'm talking about fast food chicken, right? I'm not, or whatever. I mean, it was unbelievable. And, you get on the charter and it's completely stocked with, like, what I think is really good food with multiple choices. They would be eating In-N-Out on the plane instead of the top shelf food that was laid out on the, no, I'm not kidding you.
I know. I believe it. More for you and Jerry. Didn't Jerry used to take the cookies?
No, that was G-Man. G-Man, I've never seen G-Man, not once in 32 years of traveling with the Kings, ever see G-Man pass up when the cookies come by. And they're big cookies, they're not the little, and he'll actually have the flight attendant wrap up a few, and he'll put them in his carry-on, and he'll take that to the hotel with him.
G-Man, I was talking to him about this last week before one of the games. He is such a great follow on Twitter because he will go out to dinner in the different cities and hit some of the more traditional places that the cities are known for and have dinner. It's awesome. Go follow
He loves
him.
his Italian food, boy.
Yeah.
That's his thing. He loves his Italian food, loves it. So, yeah, but I've never, in all my years, and I don't ever recall him not taking a cookie. They come by with the big cookie tray, and always, never, not once has he ever passed it up. Not once.
It's hard to pass up a cookie.
Yeah, well, it's really hard when they look the way they do on the plane, and they're like, they like if you look at them, that they just keep the tray in front of you until you grab one, even if you don't want one. They just keep the tray in front of you. It's like, take a cookie,
but
But
to be fair to G-Man, he's been habituated to it because in the press room at halftime, it's always popcorn, cookies, and hot dogs. So you got to get the cookies. They go quick at halftime.
Okay.
So
all right,
he knows. He gets
yeah,
them.
yeah, absolutely. Don't forget 916-779-0929. That's 916-779-0929. You can call the show or you can text the show, and very happy to talk about whatever you want. Getting ready for Thursday Night Football with the Broncos and the Raiders. You know, speaking about food, not that it's a big deal, but some of the media rooms in professional sports, the media rooms are terrible, and some of the media rooms are great. Like, great. Like, the difference is like staying in a 1-bedroom apartment and staying in a mansion. That's the disparity in media rooms, even in the NBA.
So
it's incredible.
Who are some of the better ones?
Oh, Detroit's got the best one. Detroit is unbelievable. It's huge. They have multiple choices, and they have they're owned by is it Little Caesars or whatever?
Little
So they
Caesars
have,
Arena.
right. So in addition to the multiple entrees on the buffet line, they have all types of their pizza available before the game, halftime, after the game, and the place is huge. TVs everywhere. I could live in that room. That's how nice it is. No, I'm serious.
Is it?
I'm not kidding you.
I've heard that arena is not great. Is it the best thing about the arena?
I like the arena. I didn't have a problem with the arena.
Oh,
I think that the concourse is the best concourse of any arena I've ever been to.
Wow.
I think they did a phenomenal job with the arena, and the concourses are the most unique concourses I've ever been to. I always walk around the concourses when I go to an arena for the first time, and I always like to look at it. And then Chris Granger, who used to be the president of the Kings, took me on a tour of the arena, and they also have a full practice facility for the Detroit Red Wings in the arena. That's, part of the building. So I went in there and saw everything. I thought it was fascinating. But the concourse at the arena in Detroit, it's unbelievable.
Very cool. That's one thing Sacramento did right. I feel like some of these new arenas, like the Chase Center, are kind of built after the Golden One Center.
Mm-hmm.
The G1C, they did that really, really well.
Yeah, the only arena that I have not yet checked out is down in LA, the home of the Clippers. So I haven't been to that arena. I've always thought the arena in Orlando is one of the top 3 or 4 buildings in the NBA. It's a great arena. They did a phenomenal job down there in Orlando. I love going down there. It's a phenomenal arena. But the arena in Detroit, I like it. Now, one thing, they made a big mistake when they built it. Originally, it was all red seats. And then what happened was it was a really bad look on TV because they had empty seats all the time. Because, the Red Wings are, right? Well, because the building is shared. So they replaced all of the seats after it just opened. Like, when I don't mean like the next day, but I mean like a year later.
Yeah.
And they replaced it with a dark color so that you can't see all the empty seats when you're watching on TV. You really can't tell how many people are at the game. Because the red seats stood out like a sore thumb.
That can't be cheap, replacing that many seats.
No. 19,000 seats or whatever it was? No.
Holy moly. It's a lot of seats.
Whatever the attendance was. It's a big arena.
More teams are starting to go to the theater lighting. for games.
Yeah, I
the
don't like
Lakers
that.
do, and the
I don't like
Knicks
that.
do.
I'll tell you why I don't like that. I don't like the theater lighting because when I'm at a game and I'm watching my team and you have the euphoric moments, I like to look around and share in the enjoyment with everyone else. Like I love to see how crazy an arena is going. And with theater lighting, you can't see other people in other sections of the arena if you're looking from up, if you're looking from down to up. Now, if you're upstairs, you can see it, but you can't see it if you are in the first tier and you're looking up into the second tier. You can't see anybody. I don't like that. Brooklyn's like that. I've never liked Brooklyn's arena. I don't care going there.
I have, other than Kings Row 1, I have probably sat in most sections at Arco, Old Arco.
Yep.
And my favorite by far was standing room only. When the Kings were good, especially during
Couldn't
the
beat it.
playoffs, to see the entire arena erupt and
That's what I
just
mean.
have that view, it
Yep.
was the coolest view.
And when you have theater lighting, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I would never have theater lighting if I was in charge. Hey, I'll tell you one thing I would do when it comes to my heating and air conditioning unit. If I have any issues, if I need it retrofitted, if I need a new system, I'm getting in touch with DAS Mechanical. Nick Delancey, who I had a great meeting with a couple of months ago. This is family owned and operated, DAS Mechanical. And after meeting with Nick and then looking at all of their 5-star reviews and their numerous best of the best awards, I said, okay, I get it. I now know why you've done as well as you have. HVAC retrofit and service specialist. They also do new systems. And remember, if you do need a new system, they're not cheap. There's financing options, including 0% interest for 18 months with rebates up to $6,000. Go to dasmechanical.org, D as in dog, A, S as in Sam, mechanical.org. And don't forget, until the end of November, a $69 winter maintenance check on your system. Only $69, the special through the end of this month. Go to dasmechanical.org. You can book everything online. It's that simple. Just book online. They're awesome. Look at their reviews, their awards. dasmechanical.org. All right, we'll be right back. The Grant Napear Show, Fox Sports Sacramento.
Fox Sports traffic. We're still dealing with some heavy rush hour delays throughout the entire area. Just give yourself lots of extra time as you head home. The good news is there are no reported problems in the way of accidents throughout the Sacramento area. You're just dealing with some heavy rush hour delays on the Cap City Freeway, I-80 top of the town freeway, US 50 along with I-5. So give yourself that extra time to work your way through most of these major delays through the Sacramento area. With Troy at Hour Traffic, I'm Andy Bass for Fox Sports Sacramento.
The holidays can be a time of increased stress for those struggling with opioid or stimulant addiction. They can also be a time for pause, reflection, opportunity, and new beginnings. This holiday season, choose treatment and recovery. Embrace the company of family and friends and create special moments. Find a proven opioid or stimulant addiction treatment provider near you at choosechangeca.org.
Tired of the same old routine? Need a place where the beer flows and the good times roll? Then head to Fieldhouse American Sports Pub, 1833 Fulton Avenue. Family owned and operated, so you know you'll feel right at home. Catch all your favorite games on 18 big screens while enjoying amazing food. And with 28 beers on tap, you're sure to find something you love. And don't miss everyday happy hour from 3 to 7 and again from 10 till close. Looking for more than just the game? Trivia Tuesday starts at 7 p.m. And there's Mario Kart and bingo nights for even more fun, too. There's always a blast happening at Fieldhouse. Whether you're looking for a place to watch the game, grab a bite with the family, or just unwind with friends, Fieldhouse is the place to be. Fieldhouse American Sports Pub, 1833 Fulton Avenue. Bring it to the house.
So since we're talking about arenas and stadiums, there's something I wanted to get into. And I know that I'm old school, so I get that. When you go to a game, what is the main reason that you're going to the game? Why are you going? You're going to see the game, correct? So what do you want when you go to see a game? Well, I would like a good seat if I could have one, but if not, it's not going to ruin my enjoyment. The last playoff game I went to at Yankee Stadium, I was at the Yankees-A's wild card game, one game, and I was literally 4 rows from the very back in the left field upper deck, 4 rows from the top. And it was one of the best times I've ever had at a baseball game. I didn't care that I wasn't close to the field. So we're all different. But what are you doing? You're going to the game to watch the game. What else would I prefer? I would prefer good restrooms, all right, that aren't like the Oakland Coliseum. So that's important to me. And other than that, a video board, and that's it, okay? I'm not a bells and whistle guy, Rhino. And by bells and whistles, now when arenas are built, it's like you got to keep up with the Joneses, okay? And no pun intended, but everyone's tried to do what Jerry Jones has done with the stadium in Dallas, which is by far the nicest venue I've ever been to for a sporting event, okay? But when I go to a game, I'm not a bells and whistles guy. I just want a seat with decent leg room, meaning that my knees are not cramped up against the guy right in front of me. That's number one. Number two, I'd like to have a video board that I can see replays. And number three, good restrooms. Other than that, I don't really care. I don't really care about the food choices because I very rarely buy food at the game due to the price. I don't really care about clubs and things of that nature because I'm not going to the game to walk into a club. I'm going to the game to watch the game. So maybe I'm a little bit different, but all of the amenities that are in these arenas, like for instance, and I know it's a real big hit up at Golden One Center on the 3rd floor. And since I haven't been there in 5 years, forgive me if they've changed the name, but the beer garden up there on the 3rd floor.
Sierra Nevada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would never go up there if I was at a game because that's not why I'm going to the game. If I want to go and hang out at a beer garden or whatever, I'll go to a bar. I won't go at a stadium to do that. That's just me. Okay. But I know a lot of people go up there. I know it's real popular among certain people. And oh yeah, by the way, you can get your beer and walk forward and still see the action. But like, that's not why I'm going to the game. But that's just me. What about you?
I'm going to give some of those people a little bit of a break because the upper deck at the Golden One Center is very steep. And
yes, it is very steep.
There is a lot of places on the railings that
Very
would
steep.
be equivalent to like a row A seat in the second level that you can get. My wife and I have done that a number of times. If you're at the lounge, you have that indeed. And then there's others that are up there to drink and just have the bar in front of them and be part of the atmosphere. If I am paying for a courtside seat, then I want the bells and whistles. I want access to the lounge. I want to get that experience because that is...
Yes, but that's before the game and halftime. During the game, you want to watch the game, correct?
100%. Absolutely.
Yeah, me too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's number one. Like,
Yeah.
I would never let a lounge prevent me from missing any part of the game. Like,
Okay,
as soon
well,
as...
that's the point I'm trying to make. You know how many people have the most expensive seats at a sporting event and spend half the game in the lounge watching it on TV? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. You ever watch a Yankee game and you notice that all of the seats in the first 7 rows are completely empty? And I've done that before because I had a buddy take me to a game and sit in those seats. The lounge, the club underneath that area, you can't even believe it. They have king crab legs. They have prime rib. Like, I can go on. And they have TVs everywhere. And people literally go and spend an enormous amount of money to go to a Yankee game and spend 7 of the 9 innings in the club eating all the food and watching the game on TV. It's just the darndest thing to me.
Because it's a status thing.
Yes, it's a status thing. Right. Yep. But I don't care about status. I want to watch the game.
Yeah, it happens at Kings games. When it started the third quarter, commonly Kings row 1 is, empty
all
or
buildings
scattered.
in the league.
It's every building in the
Everywhere.
league. But to your
everywhere. Same in football.
Yep. And to your larger point, if I'm going to a game, I want to have a good seat. Don't want to have a seat where it's like, oh my gosh, once I sit down, I don't want to have to get up again because that was such a hard walk, or, it's steep. Like my wife and I ran into that in the Hawk's Nest in Seattle. Like we looked at each other, we're like, yeah, we're not going to get anything else to drink after the first quarter.
Well, I'll tell you, at Golden One Center, the first time I went into that building and walked to the very top in the last row on the upper deck, I mean, when you walk down, I don't know about you, but I am holding on to the railing. I mean, that is, and I'm not going fast. I'm looking at my steps, and I'm literally holding on, because if you were to take a misstep, you are in a lot of trouble there.
100%. Spot on. That's exactly how it was at the Hawk's Nest. For me, I also want to be at the game with somebody that I want to make a memory with. That's important to me, because some of your best memories happen in sports. Sometimes best lessons come from sports. But also when it comes to, like a scoreboard, I want to see that. I don't need, although I like having some of the more advanced analytics, I don't need those. Just give me something basic and give me something that shows the other scores that are out of town, and I'm a happy camper.
A video screen is not as important to me at a basketball game as it is at a football game. At a football game, to me, it's like really important because the football stadium is so large.
Right.
And if you are at one end of the stadium and the action's at the other end, it is very difficult to see. And if you have the video scoreboard, number one, you can watch it. You can watch the game on the video scoreboard when it's too far away from you, and then you have the replay. So in football, it's a lot more important for me than it is at basketball.
I don't think I've ever asked you this question. What was your balance like when it came to calling a game and actually watching the game and watching the monitor?
It all depends on my sight lines and where we are sitting. And the reason for that is if you are sitting close to the bench on the floor, very often you are completely blocked out. You have no depth because the coach and the referee are always seemingly in dialogue right in front of you. And then you're blocked out. You can't see. So then I would announce the game on the monitor. Or when I used to announce at Golden One Center or at Arco, we were across from the scorer's table, and I could see the court very well, with the exception of when people would stand, it would completely block out about a third of the court. So in the big moments, both at Golden One Center and Arco, I would always announce the big moments off the monitor because I didn't want to miss it. And I knew that people would be standing. I knew that there would be people in my line of sight. To this day, one of my favorite calls was a dunk that I never saw. And it was Willie Cauley-Stein. And we had that on my intro for my podcast for a number of years. I did not see that play live. And the reason for that is I was watching the game in real time. And right as Willie made the dunk, my view was completely blocked. And based on the reaction of the crowd and the immediate aftermath of the dunk, I knew it was great. And I used my signature call: if you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball. But I never saw the dunk live. I just knew it was great. And so I called it as such, but I never saw it in real time.
Very interesting. That's that intuition, right?
Yeah, it's just, I just realized that had to be special. But, I mean, there's no excuse for an announcer to miss a call because you couldn't see. Like, there's just that can't happen. Okay, you have two monitors in front of you, and so you can't say I didn't see it. Joe Buck. I had Joe Buck on the radio about 15 years ago, and he said something to me that really stuck out. He had just done the Giants Packers playoff game where it was 20 below zero. And it was the NFC Championship game, right?
Yeah.
And I asked him about, announcing the game. And, obviously, you got the press box open and blah, blah, blah. And he said, Grant, he said, my dad, the legendary announcer, Jack Buck, he told me years ago, he said, the people watching the game don't give a damn whether you're warm or whether you're cold, whether you're comfortable or uncomfortable. They don't care. Okay. It doesn't mean anything to them. Don't think that they're going to feel sorry for you. The reality is you have a job that almost all of the people watching would trade places with you in a heartbeat. So shut up and don't complain about anything when it comes to broadcasting. And I learned that, and I very rarely would ever complain about not being able to see or what have you. I've always felt that if I'm in the building, okay, and there were some arenas that they would put us up top as opposed to on the floor. If I'm in the building, okay, I can announce the game. And if I'm not in a great location like Philadelphia, which is a really bad location, I don't worry about it. I have 2 monitors in front of me, and I can announce the game off the monitor. I mean, heck, during the pandemic, they weren't even sending announcers to the games. They were in the studio, and they were announcing the games off the monitor in the studio.
Very true.
Right? Now, the only sport that I don't think I could do that I think would be too hard would be hockey. Because in hockey, you really do need to see the ice surface in its totality to really do a great job in hockey, because there's so much anticipation in hockey. And if you know the sport, you can figure out what's coming next. You don't get that on TV.
What's the proper position in hockey where the announcers should be located?
Well, you want to be up top. You want to be over the ice. I know when I announced hockey, the Sharks had a phenomenal location. That was the best. I mean, my first game, I was like, this is just too good to be true. But then they moved it even further upstairs. But you don't want to be too far away from the ice. Like Toronto was great. Being up in the Toronto TV booth was phenomenal. You were up very high, but you were over the ice. You could see everything develop. It was very easy just to see everything. So every arena is different. I announced college hockey games in the tournament at the home of the Red Wings for years, Joe Louis Arena. And that was very challenging because it was not only at the very top of the arena, but it was far away from the ice. So if you're up high, it's fine as long as you're not too far away from the ice.
Breaking news. Yeah. We have the injury report just released for the Thunder. Lou Dort is questionable. Everybody else is off of the list. Oh, actually, Aaron Wiggins, he is on. We know Nikola Topic is out due to cancer, unfortunately.
So Holmgren's not on the list, and Caruso's not on the list.
They are not on the list. For the Kings, Domantas Sabonis is the only one that's listed as questionable, which means Zach is good to go.
Good. That's good news. That's good news. But it's not good news that Portland's going to have everybody basically playing. You said Dort is questionable?
Dort is questionable.
Yeah, he's got a shoulder. I'm going to say he's going to play with them coming off a loss.
Okay.
They're trying to win 70 games this year.
You said that. You mentioned that. Where did you hear that?
Just from people in the organization. Like they don't want to just win this year. They want to make a statement this year. They want to be like they feel like they're good enough to accomplish. They've already won a championship, so now they want to do something on top of that.
Yeah, but 70 games isn't a statement unless you win the championship with it.
Well, yeah, obviously, but they want to do both.
Okay, I respect them having goal for the season besides the championship.
Yeah. So 8-1, they lost last night. So at least we have an updated injury report. Thank you for that, buddy.
You are welcome. And the Raiders, first to get on the scoreboard. TNF, Ashton Genty into the end zone, 6-0.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we'll come back. We'll wrap up the show. Final segment, 916-779-0929, the Grant Napear Show, Fox Sports, Sacramento.
Fox Sports traffic as we take one final look at the roadways for this Thursday afternoon. Still very busy throughout the Sacramento area. Brand new grass fire on the Cap City Freeway westbound at Exposition Boulevard. Watch out for EMS and fire rescue on scene trying to extinguish that fire. It is causing all sorts of delays on the Cap City Freeway in between Top of the Town Freeway and US 50. So give yourself that extra time to work your way through there. With Twice an Hour Traffic, I'm Andy Bass for Fox Sports Sacramento.
For nearly all of us, our home is our biggest investment. And just as important as what it looks like on the outside is what is happening on the inside. How long has it been since you had your home's electrical integrity checked? Whether your home is 10 or more years old or even a newer build, the safe rule of thumb is to get the electrical inspected at least every 5 years. At Gabroods, electrical work is all we do. We're the area's recognized experts. Panel replacements, whole house fans, generators, solar, and more. But home inspections are what we do most often. Whether you have a difficult electrical situation or it's just time to ensure your home and family are safe, call locally owned Gabroods for our thorough 12-point expert inspection. Gabroods, serving our Northern California neighbors for more than 30 years. Gabroods, G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Call the good dudes at Gabroods, G-U-B-R-U-D-S, Gabroods.com.
Hi, it's Margot from Bennett's Restaurants. At Bennett's, it's all about bold flavors and fresh handcrafted food served with genuine hospitality. Craving prime hand-cut steaks? We've got them. Fresh salmon, halibut, or giant Mexican prawns? We've got those too. At Bennett's, we serve premium seafood and steaks in a relaxed setting. Whether you're joining us for a special night out or a casual bite, we'll treat you like family every time. Find us in Sacramento, Roseville, and Rockland. View our menus and make a reservation at bennettsrestaurants.com.
Looking for the ultimate night out? Welcome to HQ Showgirls, Sacramento's premier adult gentlemen's club. We're the only topless club between Reno and San Francisco serving alcohol, beer, wine, and champagne. All inside over 6,000 square feet of pure excitement. Planning a party or a VIP night? Call our VIP manager now at 916-389-0199 to book your table. Come experience the energy at HQ Showgirls, 851 Richards Boulevard, Sacramento. Open 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Sunday through Thursday and until 4 a.m. Friday and Saturday. Visit hqnightclub.com, where the night begins and never stops.
Hey, it's Grant Napear, and I want to talk to you about DAS Mechanical. You've heard me talk about the $69 winter furnace special tune-up going on right now. That's right, $69 through the end of November. Well, are you considering renovating and maybe retrofitting your home in 2026? How about planning ahead? Yeah, start thinking about it now. Nick Delancey, their owner, who I met 2 months ago, awesome. His family has years of retrofitting experience. His crews are specialists for residential and commercial properties. Make the contact now at dasmechanical.org and plan ahead. Get an expert estimate and get ready to roll with DAS Mechanical. dasmechanical.org. Be sure and check out their numerous 5-star reviews and many, many best of the best awards. dasmechanical.org. D as in dog, A, S as in Sam, mechanical.org. They are awesome. Book online now.
Ready to turn your idle equipment into cash? Purple Wave Auction is your solution. We specialize in no-reserve online auctions, bringing nationwide buyers to your doorstep. From excavators to dozers, we'll market your assets to a vast audience of eager buyers. No hauling required. We photograph and list your equipment where it sits. Experience our transparent and simple process with expert support. Join successful sellers who trust Purple Wave. Visit purplewave.com today to learn how easy selling can be.
All right, the Kings and Thunder tomorrow. The updated injury report is out. So, Rhino, this is what I'm thinking. I don't concede anything in the NBA, but I got to be realistic, okay? I've got 4 games remaining on this homestand. I'm taking on the best team in the NBA tomorrow. So, if I have Sabonis, who, iffy, can play, but, and listen, Sabonis wants to play. He's tough as nails.
Yeah.
I got to do what's best for the team here, and I got to hold him out and get him the extra rest because I think I can beat Minnesota. I don't like my chances against Denver, and I think I can beat Atlanta. I don't think I'm going to beat Oklahoma City with Sabonis or without Sabonis. Now, I know you're not going to say that publicly, but that's the way I'm thinking.
I am 100% with you. I have experience with ribs, actually fractured rib before. It is not an area that you can numb up and shoot up. It is a straight pain tolerance thing. And the way Sabonis plays, you've got to be ultra, ultra cautious. It is a very painful injury. I'm holding him out as well, especially if he's questionable right now.
Yeah. And again, he wants to play because I know his personality and how he is. But you got to look at the big picture here. The big picture is your best chance to win on this homestand, now that last night's in the books, is Sunday against Minnesota and then the Wednesday game against Atlanta. your best chances are not against Oklahoma City and not against Denver. And you have to look at the big picture right now. And the worst thing that could happen is for Sabonis to play tomorrow and somehow, make it worse or what have you. I don't want that. I would just give him a couple of extra days.
I would too, because you almost get a week's rest at that point, because the injury would have happened on Monday against Denver. He's off for basically a week, 6 days, 6.5 days. So, yeah, I'm with you there. You can't risk it.
Good start for the Raiders, up 7-0, a minute 40 left in the first quarter, and they're playing good so far on both sides of the ball. The one thing about the NFL, there's no rhyme or reason to the season this year. Forecasting games is like impossible when you look at teams like Carolina and Atlanta,
Yes.
right? You look at Buffalo, who, how do you figure out them? And they're a Super Bowl type of a contender. Kansas City got off to their bad start. And then, how do you, look at a game and truly handicap it to a point where you know what the heck's going on?
Got to have inside information.
Even if you have inside information.
It's the bookmakers. That's why they are always profitable. It's so hard. And this year in particular, but I'm not mad about that. I'm actually kind of excited about that because it means more parity in the league. I want to see good games.
Okay, is it parity or is it mediocrity?
I think it's parity. The difference between a win and a loss in the National Football League is, I've heard other people talk about it, and I've seen it so many times this year, just in one play, Grant, in so many different games that could have taken a season a different way, and then it takes it another way. How about you? Do you think it's mediocrity?
I think it's more mediocrity now. I think there are a lot of bad teams in the NFL. I think there are a lot of bad teams.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got some
All right.
responses, by the way, about what people or listeners would like when they go to a game. Dorian says, I'm going to a game to watch my favorite sports team, and I don't normally go to a lot of live events, so I will sit as close as I affordably can. We also got a text as well. I'll let you read that one.
Yeah, I said, I'm going to a game, specifically a Kings game. I'm just going for the experience and to watch the game. I could care less about the food, etc. I don't normally go to live events, so I will sit as close as I affordably can, usually 5 to 7 from courtside. Well, I never had a chance to sit close to anything until I think the first, when this is pretty cool, when George McPhee ended up playing for the New York Rangers, and I went to his playoff games at Madison Square Garden, and I don't know how it happened. I don't remember how it happened. I don't know if he gave me a pass or whatever, but I ended up, and I had a sport coat on, and I had, I was dressed not like a regular fan. And I don't know how it happened, but the Rangers are playing the Flyers in the playoffs, and it's George's first game ever at Madison Square Garden. And I end up standing where the Zamboni comes out, up against the glass.
Oh, wow.
At Madison Square Garden, watching the Rangers and the Flyers, and it was one of the great experiences I've ever had. Like, I couldn't believe that I was standing there at Madison Square Garden, up against the glass, watching the Rangers and the Flyers play. That was unbelievable. I'll never forget it.
See, there's two different groups. There's the group that gets that experience, and that's the only way they can watch sports going forward, or at least going to a live event, is have that primo seat or that view that is exclusive. Or it's those like you, where you respect how special being close, that close actually is.
Yeah, if you send me to a big game and I've got seats upstairs, like at the top, I don't care. I'm at the game. I don't care. Just like when I went to the Yankee game. I was doing my radio show at the studios of WFAN in Lower Manhattan, and I was able to get a ticket for the Yankees and the A's. And so I'm taking the subway, and I'm getting there, and my ticket was literally, like, I'm not exaggerating, 4, 5, 6 rows from the very top of the stadium, and in the left field, upper deck left field. I didn't care.
Yep.
And the fans there were great.
I mean, those are the real true fans. You know what I mean? Like, they were there to watch the game. They were there. They were great. That was like a phenomenal experience I had. Phenomenal experience.
Is that the same? Was that the last game at Yankee Stadium?
The last game I've been to in the playoffs, it wasn't the last game at Yankee Stadium, no, but it was the last game I was at for a playoff game in New York.
Got it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the game that the gentleman flew overseas for, and you were encouraging
Oh, no, that was
him
the last
to-
game. That was the last game at the old Yankee Stadium.
Okay.
It was game 162 on a Sunday night. I had gone to the Giants-Bengals game that afternoon, and I wasn't even planning on going to the Yankee game. I'm like, you know what? I got to go to the game. I'm like, I got to go to the game. And I got outside Yankee Stadium, and I'm trying to scalp a ticket, and I'm like, I'm just monitoring everything because I've never done that before. And some guy comes up to me and goes, you need to be real careful. I go, why is that? He goes, there's some counterfeit tickets that are going around. He goes, if you buy a ticket from someone, here's my recommendation. Don't pay the person until you go to the turnstile and they scan your ticket and it's good, then give them the money. I'm like, hey, I really, really appreciate that advice. And so I got a ticket for $200, and I said to the guy, I'm happy. Here's my money. I have it in my hand. As soon as the scan goes good with the ticket, I'm going to hand you the money. He goes, okay. So I'm sitting in the upper deck on the first base side between first base and the foul pole. All right. And I'm by myself. Last regular season game ever at the old Yankee Stadium. The guy next to me had flown in that day from Hong Kong. Okay. He was from the UK, but he lived in Hong Kong. And his dream, his whole life, his bucket list was go to a game at Yankee Stadium. And so he did the same thing I did. He flew into New York, although I didn't fly in just to go to the Yankee game, but he flew halfway around the world, literally halfway around the world, to go to the game. And I said, when are you going back to Hong Kong? He said, tomorrow. And I'm like, you know what? I love you, man. I go, no, I did. I said, I love you. I go, you're my man. I go, that's what I love. That's beautiful. I said to him, I go, man, I love you.
You
You're
speak
freaking
my
great.
language.
No, absolutely. I'm like, you and I are cut from the same cloth. I'm like, I would travel halfway around the world to go to a game like that and then get on a plane and fly right back in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. I wouldn't even think twice about it. In an absolute heartbeat. I mean, in a heartbeat. And I wouldn't care if I had to sit in economy. I don't care. I don't care if I'm in a middle seat in economy. Put me on a plane. If I'm going to an event like that, give it to me. I'm fine. No problem at all.
There is
no
something,
problem.
There is something cool when you make that rash decision. You know what? I'm doing it. It's just a rush from start to beginning. When you travel, the events.
It's like when George and I went to the Toronto Yankees doubleheader and we were sitting so far away we couldn't see the field.
Yeah.
We were sitting around at the pool and we're like, hey, man, let's go to the game. And, you know, it's a 5-hour drive to Toronto. And so I'm very spontaneous that way. And I've done some crazy stuff, you know, very spontaneous where I'm like, okay, I got to go to the game. And I'm figuring out, and I'm like, wow, 3 hours later, I'm on a plane flying across the country to go to a game. And then I'm coming right back. I told you when I used to go to the Giants all the time, I really mean that. I would board the red eye on JetBlue. I would land at Kennedy, get on the, it's called the air train, to the Long Island Railroad, go into Manhattan, walk up to Penn Station, get on the bus. Now you can go by train. They didn't have that back then. Go to the stadium. My brother would meet me at the stadium, go to the game. And then they had a flight that went nonstop from Newark to San Francisco. And my brother would drop me off at Newark, which was out of his way, but he did it anyway. And I would fly home right after the game. I mean, you know, I didn't have any carry-on. I didn't have anything. I just had me on the plane going and coming. Yeah, I'm not the typical fan. I guess I am the typical fan. I think a lot of people would love to do that. I would love, I mean, to me, it's what I live for. I absolutely love it. I can't think of anything different, like I would do anything differently in my sports experiences and my background. Like I live for that. And it's some of my fondest memories. And then when I had kids and can share that with them, I was like, you know, they're the same way as I am now. My son, he wanted to go to Fenway Park. and he flew all the way to Boston to go to a Yankees Red Sox game in Fenway, which I had to tell him, he had to get cleansed after he went there. I said, listen, the first thing you got to do before you have to wash all of that off. I go, so if you don't have a hotel and you're thinking of flying back, I'm going to get you a room. You got to shower. All right. That's not acceptable. All right. You're going to a Fenway Park to a game. That's not going to fly with me. You got to wash that off. So other than that, everything was great. All right. Let's get to Derek in Sacramento. Derek, welcome to the show.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, Grant.
Thank you.
Hey, I got to tell you about my one time like this when the Avalanche went to the Stanley Cup playoffs in 2022.
Yep.
I happened to be in Florida, so I bought Game 6 tickets in mistake. I thought I was buying Game 4. So they won the cup in Game 6. I bought upper deck seats, like $1,200 a piece. I didn't care. I just wanted to be there to watch my team. My buddy that morning goes, "Hey, do you want to sell your tickets and we'll get other tickets?" Long story short, we got row 10 from the glass. I met Chris Chelios, got a picture with Mark Messier, and got to watch my team win the Stanley Cup.
It doesn't get any better than that, does it? That's phenomenal. I love that, Derek. That's a great story. Appreciate that, buddy. You have a good one.
Have a great night, everybody.
Thank you. I really appreciate the call. That's like when I was at games 3 and 4 in Vancouver for the Rangers Canucks Stanley Cup final in '94. Went back to Channel 31 and did the sports. Took the red eye to go home for Game 5 with my dad. Flew back the next morning after they lost. Did the sports on Channel 31. Flew to Vancouver for Game 6. Came back to Sacramento to do the sports on Channel 31. Took the red eye out to New York for Game 7. Rangers win the cup. Get up early in the morning. I didn't get up. I stayed up all night celebrating, and then flew nonstop to San Francisco. That was quite a whirlwind. So yeah, I love that. There's nothing better to me when you're able to share and you're able to do that. It's the best, and it's what makes me tick. Now I don't know if I could do it now. Like I don't know if I would have I probably would, but it's a little different as you get older. But I've experienced so many great things, like going to the Super Bowl with only a few dollars in my pocket, and never being in LA before, and selling the $75 extra ticket I had for $750 that paid for everything for my entire month for going to all 3 playoff games. Like, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And you only live once, right? And I'll tell you, if you're a real fan, like if you're a true fan of a team and you've gone through the thick and thin and you've suffered and suffered and suffered, like if you're a Kings fan and they ever make it to the NBA Finals, you're going to try to do everything in your power to go to the game, even if it's one game. I know I would. Wouldn't you? That's what memories are. Cubs fans, when they went to the World Series for the first time, people were doing everything they could to get to a Cubs game. It's a great thing. Sports is great. We love it. Hey, don't forget, tomorrow, right back at it at 3 o'clock to wrap up the week. Kings and Thunder post-game show over on our YouTube channel if you don't like that. For Rhino in Sacktown, Grant Napear, thanks so much for spending 3 hours of your day with me right here on Fox Sports Sacramento. Have a great evening, everybody.
The holidays can be a time of increased stress for those struggling with opioid or stimulant use disorder. Complex family dynamics, financial strain, and cultural expectations can weigh heavily and become a tipping point for those battling the physical and mental effects of addiction. But the holidays can also be a time for pause, reflection, opportunity, and new beginnings. They're a chance to take stock of what we have and are thankful for, to remember what's most important to us, and to consider what we can change. The holidays are a time of hope. So this holiday season, choose treatment and recovery. Embrace the support and company of family and friends, and create special moments. Get started by finding a proven opioid or stimulant addiction treatment provider near you at choosechangeca.org. Find a proven treatment option that's right for you. Recover you at choosechangeca.org. That's choosechangeca.org.
The NBA season's rolling, and DraftKings' newest game, Pick 6, is the easiest way to play for your shot at big wins. NBA stars are lighting it up. Now their numbers aren't just highlights, they're your shot to cash in. Here's how it works. Just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats. The better your picks, the bigger your payout. New DraftKings customers get $50 in Pick 6 credits with just a $5 entry on your first pick set. Don't just watch basketball. Pick, play, cash in. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code KSAC. That's code KSAC. Play just $5 and get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Make the call. Ride the upside in partnership with DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Ends December 2nd at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. Terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Cameron, I just think we need to, see other people.
Are you trading me in?
No. A trade-in is what I'm getting from Kitchen Mart.
A trade-in.
Right now, Kitchen Mart's offering a $750 credit when you trade in your old kitchen countertops for something worth showing off, like granite, marble, or solid surface.
I'm not worth showing off?
Not like the stunning new quartz countertops Kitchen Mart just installed for Karen and Tom. Durable, easy cleanup, made their kitchen look brand new. And Kitchen Mart gave them a $750 trade-in credit to haul off their ugly old tile and grout countertop.
You're dumping me.
That's harsh. You want me to wait till I get the new countertops from Kitchen Mart?
At least hold off till Wednesday. I'm seeing Susan.
Susan!
Now's the perfect time to trade up to beautiful new quartz, granite, marble, or solid surface countertops. Because for a limited time, Kitchen Mart's offering a $750 trade-in credit for your old countertops. Go to kitchenmart.com today and schedule a free in-home consultation and save $750 off new countertops.
No one does it better than kitchenmart.com.
Listen up, guys. Are you experiencing any of the following? Fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now, with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Virility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Virility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer.
800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. That's 800-690-8445.
Grant's back. Join the conversation every weekday afternoon beginning at 3 p.m. KSAC 890 AM Olivehurst, K284CM 104.7 FM Sacramento. Here every weekday beginning at 3 right here. KSAC 890 AM Olivehurst, K284CM 104.7 FM Sacramento.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Grant's back, and here to win. It's the Grant Napear Show on Fox Sports Radio Sacramento. Now, Grant Napear.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. We've got Thursday night football we'll talk about with the Broncos and the Raiders. The Kings get the win last night against Golden State, and a lot of people talking about who didn't play as opposed to did play. Russell Westbrook played, that's for sure. He led the Kings with a triple-double, and we had talked about this 24 hours ago. I thought it would have been a disaster if the Kings had lost that game last night, and they found a way to win, and that's what's important because you have Oklahoma City coming in tomorrow, and as we start this show, the injury reports for both the Kings and the Thunder have not been updated yet, and so as soon as they are, we'll pass it along. The Thunder had pretty much their entire team off the floor last night, with the exception of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and they had a 20-plus point lead in Portland, and they lost. It was their first loss of the year. So now you're going to be taking on an OKC team coming off their first loss. And for Sacramento, we'll wait for the report to see whether Levine or Sabonis are on there, and if so, to what degree. So we're going to talk about that at 916-779-0929. You have Oklahoma City, Minnesota, Denver, and Atlanta still ahead on this homestand. Something else I wanted to get into today, and it was a very sad story coming out of Dallas today. I'll get to that in just a moment, but it's all related here. So 5 years ago, in the summer of 2020, we were going through a very tumultuous time in this country, and former MLB player Kevin Youkilis put out